Hello, guys. Welcome back to another session of Carnivore Muscle Ramblings Q&A. Session number, I don't know what, but it's New Year's Eve tonight. I'm celebrating here from lovely Bournemouth in the UK. Apologies for that. It's been distracted by lots of noise in the house, as per usual. Anyway, if you've got any questions, guys, please leave a question below in the chat with a cue beforehand. I'll be happy to answer them as best I can. Also, let me know if the stream is coming through okay, because I seem to be having some technical difficulties in that my stream, from what I can see, is relatively frozen. So let me know in the chat. Play your part. I've currently lost about 400 subscribers in the last month, to be exact, 377, which is not helpful at all. So please make a conscious effort to hit like, leave a comment below. These are free. I don't ask for anything for these. I don't charge people for these. So if you do have any questions below, let me know. Also, please let me know if you can hear and see me. Otherwise, this will be a very, very, very short stream for all of you to watch. So I'm going to wait for you guys to chime in and let me know what's going on. Unfortunately, I can't see it on my own feed because my own feed isn't reliable. That's annoying. Okay, you can hear me, but the screen is frozen. Mark, if you know anything about how to get subscribers back that have been unsubscribed, let me know. I don't know. I'm getting quite bitter with all this. It's getting a real pain in the backside. If it's not some arsehole on the internet telling me that I shouldn't complain about losing subscribers each morning, or someone being an absolute wanker online, I don't know. Oh, you shouldn't say that. It's not. It's my channel. I've invested thousands of hours into this to create content for you guys for free. I charge about £1 per month, if not less, with channel membership. So I can't do much more, guys. I'm absolutely lost. But yeah, you can hear me, which is good enough. That works. I accept that. But please, if you do have any questions, leave a question in the chat. Otherwise, I will be hopping off the stream immediately, because these are incredibly painful to sit through for my spine and hips, which are agonizing. I'm currently on morphine and other painkillers, which just allow me to sit here right now. A little update. My arm, not good. Went to hospital yesterday. Not good. Bodge job again. Rubbish. Don't know what they're doing. They insisted that it was what do you call it? Not temporary, but like stitches that dissolve. Stitches that dissolve. So I'm left with plastic in my arm, which is really annoying. Yeah, it probably is the wank box. It would not surprise me at all if that was the case. But yeah, anyway, you guys have hit like already. If not, I don't know. This does make for a good stream, guys. People can watch. It's 14 they can say, oh, this guy's just complaining, asking questions. I don't have questions. I can't help if I don't have any questions. Why join a Q&A if you don't have any questions? Yeah, I'm still looking like I'm freezing on my end, so I don't even go through. If you guys about to ask any question that you have, I can sit here and I'll answer them. Set aside time today to answer them full. I've currently got people listening in live stream where I used to have about 40 odd. That doesn't scream. I don't know what does. About another minute, guys. Then I'm heading off. I have any questions? Simply no answers. I'm not saying for no reason. It's painful. So please don't advice about pain. I'm in hell. Life is a living hell. My baseline pain is 8 out of 10. There is no cure for my condition. Please tell me to do fasting. Try this. Try. There is no fix, guys. And thing. I have to keep myself living in hell. To sit here right now. How much did it cost me? £3-4? Yeah. Pain meds. Yeah, it cost me money to actually be here. So I'm not taking from you guys at all, which is fine. I choose to be here, but I can't choose to be in questions. There's no questions. I can't do anything. It's like it's bad internet connection. Yeah, I don't know what. Honestly, it's coming up at maximum ticks on my thing. I'm connected through an Ethernet cable with 400 megabytes per second internet. Oh, no. I'm lost as well as you guys, honestly. You got a bit longer to ask what you have. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. All right, we've got a question. Okay, it wasn't completely for nothing. If I attempt the high protein, low fat approach of heard you speak of, what issues do I need to look for regarding protein insulin? The same things that I explicitly explained through that same video, which was carnivore. Right, I'm back. I should be able to fix this now. I can see myself moving on the screen. I don't know if it's OBS playing up, but I've got maximum RAM space, storage space, internet speed, the best I can possibly get with the money I have. So I don't know if this is fixed, but hopefully it is. And we get back to the question. So yeah, you need to look back at the video where I explicitly explained what the issues are regarding protein and insulin. Most people don't have any issues following a high protein diet with low fat, providing they're in a position to do so. If you're coming to me and you're 15 to 20% body fat, i.e., you probably don't have abs, you don't need to be doing my sort of approach. It's not scaled. It's not the right kind of methodology to use at that point in time. It's only for serious things where you're like, oh, I have to drop off 10, 20 pounds, the last 10, 20 pounds because you have to. Not necessarily because you're 15, 20% body fat. So that's one thing I have to caveat with. Like all my videos, I have to caveat everything with this, that, and the other, which is why I make my videos in such immense detail. Regarding protein insulin, not a concern. I don't see people having huge insulin bumps or blood glucose spikes from having a high protein diet, unless it is substantially above what their body requires. How much that is, I don't know. How long is a piece of string? I don't know. Measure the piece of string, i.e., run intervention, do the experiment yourself, and work it out through that means only. I can't give directives on how much people should eat. I can give you a guideline, but that's about it. So I'd look back to that video because this is all explained in there in massive detail. Other things to notice, probably digestive distress. If you're going from, say, 3/4 of a kilo of meat a day, 750 grams, up to 1.5 kilos, you're doubling it, but eating 5% lean minced beef, yeah, you're going to have a problem. Most people have a problem if they do that. It's pretty obvious. You've doubled the food intake and probably halved the fat, if not lower. So it's not well advised to do that at all. That's pretty much it. I mean, if you're someone with an unhealthy body, that seems to be overly gluconogenic and doesn't seem to do much with the protein that you take in. Well, yeah, you just need to lower it. Do you feel really sluggish after meals? Yeah, lower it. It becomes a point where are you sluggish because you're tired or sluggish because your digestive capacity is significantly overhauled or overburdened. So you need to be mindful of that as well. It's not a I feel tired, therefore low protein. It's I feel tired, but is it the fat is too low? Is it you doing too much activity? You know, lots of different things to look at. But hopefully it gives you some insights. But I would suggest watching that video again. Check the transcript if you can't understand my accent, which apparently I have. I speak English, but there we go. Hopefully that's the best advice I can possibly give you with the information I do have. Hello, Paul. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you joining on New Year's Eve 2024. If you've got any questions, please leave them below in the chat. Leave them in quickly. I don't want to be here for a moment longer than I have to because I'm in pain. But I am on a lot of painkillers right now just to be here. So please get them in now. Don't leave it to last minute. It's a living hell. I'm sorry to be negative, but it's the truth. I mean, hell, my pain is enormous. I feel worse than a cancer patient. I can say that because I've met them. I used to work with them. I used to volunteer with them. Their quality of life at that point in time when I saw them was better than mine. The only difference is they have terminal illness and they might not be around for beyond the 2-week mark. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm in agony. Please get your questions in if you have any. Don't leave it last minute. Give it another minute just because a few more people in the chat. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Cheers, Lambs. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. You're probably a few hours ahead, but I appreciate you spending your New Year's evening with us. Could my genetic result to start? I've got no chance of building muscle. That's not a question. Okay. All right. Give it a minute in case there's a part 2. I don't know how many characters YouTube gives you, like 100 characters. I find sometimes when I'm asking questions, even though they seem quite simple, I can't always get the characters in, which is annoying. I think they need to expand the amount of characters you can put into YouTube, or at least make it, I don't know, so if you leave a super chat or something, let you have more characters or something, that'd be pretty helpful. Cheers. Yeah, I won't give myself false hope. My condition was getting much worse by the day. I'm worse since surgery, so I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic, but it's killing me. Waking up each day like this, it's ridiculous. No human should have to live like this. It's tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. Paul, you always ask these like how long is a piece of string questions. I don't know, Paul. You have to be more specific. Depends what your goals are. I don't know. Is it worth training if you've got crap genetics for building muscle? The only guarantee of failure is if you quit. You have the ability to go to the gym. You have the ability to exercise at home. Now, you're definitely not going to gain muscle if you don't train. If you see what I mean. So we've had this same conversation before. And he said, is it worth doing this? I said, well, try it. How long is a piece of string? Did it work or not? No. Yes. Okay, there we go. That's what you need to worry about. It's not relying on arbitrary genetic tests. Genetic tests and diagnosis don't define who you are. They play a big part. I mean, look what I've managed to do despite crippling spine disease, hip pain, torn shoulder in the last 6 weeks. I was showing you on the Q&A, was it the other day, at the start of it, like my 6-week transformation. I built muscle in the most terrifying position possible. It's certainly possible. You know, I'm not a genetic anomaly. I've got probably good genetics for building muscle, but I'm not world class. I'm not elite. So it's certainly possible. You just have to persist. You have to get on with it. If you're someone that has to ask this question, I'll probably just say give up. Because you're looking at it from the wrong scope, the wrong angle. You need to be focusing on what you want to achieve. If your objective is build tens of pounds of muscle, I've did a test and it says my genetics are rubbish. Okay, well, you've just kicked yourself in the foot and diminished your returns immediately. You know, that's what I'm getting at. So yeah, I wish I could tell you how much it's worth, but only you know how much it's worth. I'd like to see you or anyone go to the gym and do something useful to themselves to feel good. Generally speaking, people that go to the gym tend to live healthier and be better overall mentally than people that don't. So I think you'd be at a loss not going, if anything. Yeah. Winners never quit and quitters never win. That's absolutely true. I'm still chuffed, Mark. I won sports day with the girls, was it a year and a half ago? I did a sprint, 5 months post spinal surgery, and I beat all the other dads. Not a biological dad by any means, but at the time, yeah, I managed to beat some people. And yeah, did I train for it? No, but did I try to get fitter, anticipating it? Yeah. I don't want to be the slowest dad on the pitch. You know, imagine looking relatively fit and muscular, then not being able to perform. What's the point? You know, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm focused on the aesthetic appeal, but you have to be able to have a bit of, you know, a bit of welly, a bit of background sort of baseline strength. So, yeah, contact you in January. Yeah, absolutely. Bring a list of questions. Book in. My guideline is about 3 questions, half an hour, 5+ questions, an hour. If you want a training and diet plan to go through the whole lot, book in 90 minutes, just because we won't have the time to get through it all. It does take a lot of time to get the background information needed, as you can probably understand. But yeah, appreciate that. Any more questions, guys? Chime in. Let me know. Be happy to answer them while I'm here. And Lambs, let me know how you're getting on with your exercise endeavors. I remember when we first started chatting quite a few years ago now. Functional muscle, use it or lose it. Yeah, I know that. One of my biggest obstacles right now is getting out of bed. Not because it's like I'm lazy or anything like that. No. I'm up before everyone else. My problem is this arm is about 20 to 30% numb. So this side of my arm, I can't feel much at all. I can feel myself touching myself, but it's very like hit and miss. You know, it's not how to put it. It's not like stroking my arm like it used to be. It's like gripping stuff is a bit like flaky after like walk around the kitchen carrying something. I'm like, I have to grip, you know, I have to consciously think about it much more than usual. It's an absolute nightmare. Question: what nutrition recommendation would you give for someone entering a 10-week transformation contest? Too broad of a question. I said this before. I don't have any idea about your stats, how tall you are, how much you weigh. 16% body fat on Eddie Hall would look very different to 16% body fat on my friend Lambs here in the chat. So, you know, I need to know your weight as well. 16% body fat, if you weigh 300 pounds, is a lot to lose, which means your mass deficit of food is going to be much steeper. Now, if you're 16% body fat and you're 150 pounds, yeah, I mean, it's not going to take too long. You know, you're looking at, oh God, £10 loss. 10 pounds over 10 weeks is certainly easy and possible. Not a massive deal at all. You've been carnivore for 3 months. I mean, I'm trying to extrapolate and draw from straws here for what you said, but carnivore for 3 months, you're doing well. You put yourself in the best stead possible to achieve what you're trying to achieve. Carnivore diets do seem to be the best for fat loss from the nutrient satiety sort of standpoint, the feeling good standpoint, the better rest recovery standpoint, better breathing standpoint. If you're eating, you know, plenty of collagenous tissues, good for your joints, you know, stuff like that. I don't often hear too many carnivores experience joint issues, but I've met a lot of vegans that do. So you're doing your best there. That's all I can say. If I'm just to give the broadest guideline of what you should probably be eating, I'm gonna absolutely guess and assume you're 200 pounds because that's just probably slightly higher than average weight for a man. I'm guessing. You're probably looking at about 700 to 800 grams of meat a day, maybe 900 grams if you're involved in heavy resistance training. I'd try it for maybe work from the outside in, include all the animal foods, maybe do a week of 85% lean ground beef, you know, a couple of eggs, a tablespoon of butter, run that for a week. Do you lose fat or gain fat? Okay, you gain fat. Okay, that's too much food. Drop out the butter. Again, run the week again. Did you lose fat or gain fat? Oh, you lost fat. Okay. Was it the amount you wanted? Yes. Brilliant. Run it again. Do another week. Now, as results start to slow, you got to think, okay, I've got a 10-week transformation. I'm trying to drop 10 pounds. So £1 a week, very achievable, very realistic, very measured as well. So probably suggest in that case, you're going to be looking at going from maybe the butter, the beef, the eggs, then go to the beef and the eggs. When that expires, you don't get the results you want. That £1 is not coming off each week. Maybe it's half a pound. Maybe look at your step count a little bit. Maybe your food's already too low. Maybe try and increase your step count by 500 a day for the week. That's going to have a good impact on your fat loss efforts. Also, get outside. It's much better for your recovery and sleep, things like that. After that point, I'd probably suggest going from 85% lean ground beef with 3-4 eggs down to maybe 90% lean. Run that for a few weeks. Do the same thing again. That's literally it. It's nothing complicated. You don't need calculators. I'd say if you do need like that individual help to like work out properly, I'd book a consultation. I have more detail in the guidelines of my ebook, which I highly recommend people checking out because it's might be the best resource online for carnivore diets. Specifically, if you're looking at body composition, you won't find anything out there much more up to date.
Introducing Beef Up Carnivore Bodybuilding Bible. The ultimate guide for men and women to lose fat and build muscle. And the best part, it's only $12. Don't miss out on the most detailed resource available. Get a copy now at compositionconsultant.com.
That's a very handy interlude, wasn't it? Absolutely excellent. If you guys have any more questions, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to be heading off in a few minutes, so please let me know. We've got now 21 people in, which is pretty cool. I don't know why you guys are watching me if you're not answering questions. I never understood that myself. But yeah, here I am. Anyway, so it's New Year's Eve 2024. Answering questions on Carnivore Muscle YouTube channel. Just exploring the back office of this new setup. It's quite interesting. It lets you play music and all sorts. It's quite dull. I'm going to get a comment below saying, I wish you wouldn't play music in your live streams. Come on, I'm playing for 5 seconds. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Maybe next time. Any recommendations you have for autism that I might have missed? I don't know what you've missed, Thomas. Come on, ask a proper question. Like, I don't know. It's going to come across rude, but the thing is, I'm sat here willing to answer questions. You're not giving me questions that I can answer. Any recommendations you have for autism that I might have missed? I don't know. I don't know what you know. I've got videos on it. Carnivore Muscle, autism. I don't know. I'm going to try and get Carnitine and health fats and stuff. I watched all your other videos about it. Okay, so you know everything that I probably know about it. Okay. I'd recommend acetyl L-carnitine, which you seem to be getting in. With that one, just play around with the dose. I mean, it can make your piss smell a bit funny, so just taper it up. Don't go to whatever the recommended amount is immediately. Start something like 500 milligrams first thing in the morning. Then try a gram first thing in the morning. Then try a gram in the morning, half a gram, maybe just before lunchtime, something like that. Just keep tapering up and playing with the dose. What I found for a lot of people is it seems to give diminishing returns. So it's not like you're going to have 10 grams of it one day and feel 10 times less autistic. Your individual symptomology is very unique and different, as all of ours, to be honest. Mine is mostly sensory, which is why being an online nutrition coach is quite helpful, because it means I don't have to be stimulated in an office environment. If I go to the supermarket, this might help you. I don't know. For someone that's limited at home, parents are going out because life outside is not ideal for people like me, or yourself if you're autistic. Get some of these yellow blue blocking glasses. Believe all of my videos, especially the recent ones, you'll find there's links to them. The other ones, I've got some behind me, they're orange. Don't personally, I wouldn't say to ever bother with the blue tinted ones. They're better than not wearing them, but they don't provide much protection from blue light. The biggest impactor of my symptomology is light and heat. So most of the winter, I have my window wide open. I don't tolerate heat at all. I don't like fluffy things. You won't ever catch me wearing a dressing gown like Bart K or anything, or anything fluffy. That's individual to our symptomology. His presentation of autism is very different to mine, but we're both pretty similar in a sense in that we do have, immediate passions, nutrition, exercise science, healthy living, carnivore diet, that sort of thing. Yeah, the carnitine seems to be a big one. Just play around with the dose. Other things that are useful, taurine, plenty of omega-3. What I say to a lot of people is try not to listen to the arseholes on the internet who are trying to block you from trying to attain something. So there's going to be people out there say, don't take omega-3 because it's all bad. It's not all bad. The studies don't show it's all bad. You just have to find a good quality one. And if you don't want to use omega-3, that's completely fine. Maybe you want to use a food source, which is always going to be better. In which case, salmon, mackerel, sardines. Tin stuff probably isn't going to kill you. I'd say at this point in time, I'm 29 years old and I don't seem to have symptoms of heavy metal toxicity apart from when I was eating 5 cans of tuna a day for about 5 months straight. Don't do that, guys. But if you're eating a carnivore diet, mixed animal foods, a serving of fish here and there, you're not going to go too far wrong. But again, don't chase extremes. So me and Harry, Harry Sopanos, I recommend his channel a lot. We're quite similar in the sense we don't recommend people that try to swing the pendulum too far in one direction. Like, for example, someone might watch this and say, oh, omega-3 is good for you, carnitine's good for you. I'll take 10 grams of each a day. No, don't do that. That's not very clever, is it? I don't have a doctorate license, but if I had a doctorate license, I'd probably lose my doctorate license for the amount of lawsuits I'd get from recommending doses which aren't efficacious. But that's what I'd probably look at. Just that diet video and the Maurice one. Nice. Trying to get salmon in as much as possible and fish and stuff. Yeah, that works, honestly. Sourcing is largely overstated. The thing with sourcing is people don't know what they're talking about. They'll read a book based on studies which are performed on rodents, which does not very far translate or extrapolate to what happens in the human body, and say, these, these mice had 1,000 milligrams of this per whatever plastic in their testicles. Okay, does that prove causality of illness? Are these mice living substantially less time? No. Is there a problem? There could be a problem. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. You have to sort of add these things in a bit. Fish 2-3 times a week if you're autistic, probably helpful, in my opinion. I'm going to bring on now a very delightful and honorary guest onto my channel right now. Bit of a last minute sweeping thing, so I appreciate he's invested his time to come in today on New Year's Eve from Florida. How's it going, Rick?
Hey, nice introduction. I was out working, so I got your message when I was leaving, getting ready to come home to lunch. I thought, okay, I didn't know Jonathan was having a live, but I decided I'd drop in.
Yeah, apologies it is late, and apologies to people that were listening to this that are like, where did this come from? Why did you not? For me, these live streams are very lastminute.com. Most days I don't want to set one up. You guys anticipate your day. I need to say to Rick, I'm doing one at 4 o'clock, and all of a sudden I can't do it because I can't sit here. I don't want to do. I don't want to be unreliable. So for me, it sometimes will be a case of like, right, I'm hopping on in about an hour. Who wants to join is welcome to join. But what I'll try and do is put the links in the top of the comment section of the live chat so people can access what they need to. But yeah, what's going on today? You working or what's going on?
Yeah, I had to do an emergency job. It's the New Year's Eve, and there's a lot of people that are setting up for get-togethers and stuff like that. I had to do an electrical job early in the morning, and then I had to haul off a bunch of trash from another place where they're setting up for a party. So it was all last minute. I got a call at 7:30 when I woke up this morning, and all of a sudden it's like I thought it was my day off, and now I had to work.
Yeah. Oh geez. Yeah. I mean, I've not got much work on at the moment. I've had YouTube is my biggest driver of marketing, and it's not been the most fun at the moment or accommodating, but that's live. What can I do? I can come online. I can try and help people out in whatever capacity I have. That's the making the best out of the situation. So we've got some questions actually, Rick, about autism, which I think is a really pressing matter in the carnivore community. I don't think it gets spoken about enough. It's just so hidden away. There's not much content on it. Got a friend of the channel called Thomas Connolly. He is an autistic individual. He's asking about different maybe supplements, nutrients that are useful, things like that. His symptomology presents as a cobweb sensation on his face during high anxiety situations. I get the same thing. I kind of describe it as like a shrouding or a cloud or a seeing red kind of feeling. You can literally see the expression on my face like drop when I'm anxious. And it's, yeah, I'm one of these people, I try to be more expressive. Just because autistic people, they're often quite sort of blank face. It's quite hard to read people. I have a hard time reading other people. So I find if people mimic my kind of expressiveness, or I'm not expressive, but my attempts at expressiveness, then it makes it easier for me to read their expressiveness as well. But I'm mostly auditory, so that's where I learn. But how about you, Rick? How do you learn? Are you're more practical, I'm guessing, or what?
I have a way of, I don't know, I guess I'm guilty of judging people by appearance and by actions. A lot of times when I meet someone for the first time, if I talk to them on the phone, I start to get an idea of what kind of person they are. When I see them in person, then that sort of gets completed. And I know it's not the right thing to do, but a lot of times it's correct. And people that have been presented to me as being knowledgeable in the subject or being outstanding, when I meet them in person, they just don't seem to have a mastery that other people said that they did. And then I judge them, and then I find out over time that's usually the case. Now, I have been wrong more than once. I did meet someone who actually turned out to be very knowledgeable in the software space, but he just seemed to be, his initial appearance was like somebody living under the bridge on the side of the road. But then over time, once you get to see how a person acts, then you get a better idea. And I know in my case, when I was a kid, they used to think that I might have been autistic because I have a difficult time concentrating. I get bored easy. If I sit down, even to this day, if I sit long enough, I'll fall asleep if I'm not participating in something. And, it's like when I taught at the college, I taught electronics, and a lot of it was hands-on, but there was also theory. And what I used to do, I used to combine the hands-on with the theory and try to avoid all the complicated terms until they became familiar with it. And I had really good success. I think that a lot of times the system that we live in just doesn't understand or doesn't care, really. They want a certain type of person, and everybody else, who cares about them? I think that's one of the biggest problems we face.
Yeah, for sure. Based on what I know about you, I'm not gonna shun your own experience or anything like that, but I'd say you probably present a bit more of someone that has ADHD. That sounds a bit more. I know there's going to be some interlink, and if you test me for everything, I'll flag up as everything. It doesn't mean I am bipolar or schizophrenic or all these other things. Just by nature of default, when you live with autism, it needs to be quite an umbrella kind of thing. But yeah, it's an interesting one. We've got a few people popped in, so best wishes everyone. I've been cleaning my very unused weight and bench setting up in the house for my wife to start lifting. Might even give it again myself. Yeah, definitely do. Start before the new year if possible, I think. We've got John. Thank you for joining, John. John's ripped out of his mind. Happy New Year's, Jonathan, Rick, and the Carnivore Muscle community. Much appreciated.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah. If you guys want to comment in the chat, any questions that you do have for me or Rick, we'd be happy to answer them. Other than that, Rick, what have you got planned for the next year? I know you've got some new content ideas and things.
Yeah.
So
I've been sort of in the back burner. Obviously, YouTube doesn't pay me anything, so it was like the bottom of my list. But I'm getting to the point where I'm a little tired of some of the BS that I see online. And one of the reasons I started on YouTube is because I hate scammers and I hate people that make false promises. So I'm really thinking about trying to get together so that I can make some higher quality videos and share some of my experience, because I'm not really an expert in anything, but I've been around a long time. I've known a lot of people. And I think that some of the things that I've observed in others can actually help maybe my experience, because I think I'm relatable to some people, not many, but I'm easy to listen to. And I think a lot of people, they can relax when they listen to me. I'm not going to preach to them. I'm not going to tell them, you did this wrong, or you have to do this, or it's my way or the highway, because I'm against that. I'm against the gurus that you see that go online and they yell at you and they tell you, you're in this situation, it's your fault and all that. I don't care about that. What I want to do is just give people the education that they need. It's like what you do. You give them information that they can use. You don't force them to use it. You just put it out there. Most of the time, people don't. They want somebody to grab them by the hand and pull them along and then do everything and wipe their rear end or whatever else they want because they don't want to take the responsibility for themselves. But I'm thinking, I thought I'd be dead by now. I should have had a heart attack by 55, according to several people. I'm 56. I'll be 57. I got more energy than ever. You should have seen me today doing the electrical job and cleaning out this place. I mean, it was like bam, 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 and I was done. And people look at me, they're like, how old are you? I said, I'm 56. They just don't believe it. So I'm thinking maybe if I share a little of my experience with other people, maybe it will help. I don't know. But again, it's not for the money. I'm just sick and tired of seeing people fail. And I've said for years, a lot of times, there's failure that comes from things that you can't control, but there are other things that people do to themselves. And most of the time when people fail, it's because they did it to themselves. That's what I've seen. Now, again, I'm not saying that's true for everybody, but I think if we can help them to understand a little bit about the way things work, maybe they can make a more educated decision.
That's what I like. Yeah, the whole educated decision thing is important. It's all good people watching my content, your content, anyone else's content, and saying, like, Dr. Ken Berry just released a video, something like, don't quote me on it, I can't remember what it's called, but it's something like casomorphines in dairy are addictive or something like along those lines. I'm like, okay, do you have science to back up that claim, or is it based on anecdote? You'll find it's based mostly on anecdote. And it's like, well, is it that dairy is addictive, or is it that people just like to eat cheese? You can make, for example, a chocolate bar, but not put the addictive properties of a chocolate bar in it. You could probably extract them, and people would still like it. It doesn't mean that it's addictive or not addictive. Chocolate's probably a bad example because it does, the theobromine, cocamine does release a addictive chemical in the brain, dopamine, all that sort of stuff for some people. But then for other people like me, it gives me a banging headache. So it's definitely not addictive to me. It's actually quite repulsive. Like how you say when you go, I have the same thing as you actually. Go for the supermarket, the grocery store, you walk past the fruit and vegetables, and you think, Jesus Christ, that does not smell like human food.
That's the way humans.
I am. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And we've got an insight from Andrew. So Andrew's a trusted member of the channel. So it depends massively on the type of dairy completely. Yeah. All these things can have different casomorphine factors. For someone like Andrew, who's in a very sort of particular niche position, yeah, he's gonna know. Okay, cottage cheese causes this problem. Butter does or doesn't. I don't know. A raw cheese does or doesn't do this. He's going to know because he knows the symptomology so closely because he has to manage his diet so carefully. Now, if someone's saying I'm cutting out dairy, but I'm still going to eat chocolate bars and raisins, well, how would you know it's what's stalling your fat loss? Is it the chocolate bar? Is it raisins? Is it the fact you're not include? What's going on? You have to be a bit more diligent. The thing I like about carnivore diet and the way you follow your sort of own unique diet is that you limit your food choices, but you eat the things that you like that feel good when you eat them. That's the secret. That's literally it.
Yeah, because I eat dairy. The thing is, I don't drink milk. I haven't drank milk since I was 20 years old. It doesn't agree with me. But I ferment my own yogurt and I eat cheese. And I admit it. I've had people tell me, well, you're not a real carnivore if you eat dairy. I said, what? How can that be? Oh, you're not a real carnivore if you occasionally eat fruit. No, that's not true. Even a cat eats grass from time to time. If I'm eating 70% or more meat in my diet, I am a carnivore. And who cares? I know people that are keto. They do fine. Whatever works for you. This all or nothing mentality just doesn't make sense. They say, well, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Says who? What research do you have to prove what you're saying? You're just saying it because somebody told you that. Oh, well, I saw this research. Okay, well, I would like to look at it. Let's examine it together. It's not going to happen. It's just, I get so frustrated with people that think they're experts. And I tell them, it's like even with gardening. Gardening is one of my hobbies. I've had people swear to me that I'm doing it all wrong. And yet I consistently produce better fruits and vegetables than they do. And how can that be? I said, look, I'm not an expert. I don't have any official studies. I just do what works. If it works, I keep doing it. If it doesn't work, I make an adjustment. But they just, I don't know. I think a lot of it is just this whole influencer thing. People want to be the authority and they want to be the one that has all the answers. And I'm the opposite. I want to be the one that's learning for the rest of my life, because I don't know as much as most people think they do. I try something, it either works or it doesn't, whether I'm fixing a house, a car, or making my diet. It's all the same concept.
Yeah, it's like the proof is in the carnivore pudding. It's did it work or not? People rely too much on these doctors, and there's a lot of us out there that are anomalies. I went on a complete rant. I was properly rude earlier. You should have heard me. I'm probably going to get loads of comments below now saying, "Oh, you're a bitter asshole." But the thing was, is someone giving me unsolicited advice about something which I've already tried, which I know wasn't effective. And the thing is, I'm going through all these hoops, and I've spent every damn penny I've had this year trying to better my health, improve my health, my way of life. Some things have been helpful, some things have been a massive waste of money. I've tried all the low tier things, like when you started your diet, you're like, oh, I'm going to eat a bit of meat, have some fat, maybe have a few fruit and vegetables here and there. Maybe I don't want them some days, I'm not going to have them. You sort of found your own way over time. Like the same thing with me. What I'm doing right now is the most anti-suffering diet lifestyle I can possibly live. If there was a way to quickly get myself out of it, or money that I could spend to get myself in a better position, I would have done it by now. It's been years at this point. So I know, for example, if I'm going to watch a video and say it's even by you, Rick, say you're like, oh, a lion diet's good for getting rid of inflammation. My inflammatory markers are 0. So what good is that going to do? What is that intervention going to achieve for me? Nothing. It's not going to be a minus. It's a bizarre predicament we live in, but I think people just need to run the course and maybe get ideas. See, sometimes you want your own confirmation. I get that. Like you might watch my videos on like high protein approach to a carnivore diet. Yeah, a lot of people find that effective. Most people find that effective for body composition, like staying lean or getting lean and losing fat. It just kind of makes sense. Then there's going to be people that are outliers. I know people that, for example, Phil Escott, who I've collaborated with quite a bit. He seems to feel better eating a bit less protein and a bit more fat, and he stays lean. That's what his body requires. His body processes foods that way. It's just the way his body is. He's exception to the norm, but it doesn't mean he's 1 in a billion. It just means maybe 1 out of 10, maybe. And there's always going to be that 1 out of 10, that at either end of that bell curve. So there we go.
That's like me. I tend to be high on the fat side because I do a lot of work. I need a source of energy, and there's no better source of energy than fat.
I agree. Yeah, it doesn't slow you down like eating way too much protein, for sure.
Exactly. You eat too much protein. It's like those horrible protein powders I used to eat when I was younger. They make you feel sick and they give you gas and they just weigh you down. I can eat 2 pounds of steak and go right back to work in a few minutes. It doesn't, there's all that fat. It just seems to make things a lot easier. And they say, oh, Rick, you can't eat all that meat. You're going to be sick all day. I said, no, I'm fine. Now, if I ate the duck food, I'd be sick all day. I'd have my stomach would expand, eat a bunch of fruit, and I'll be sitting there like I've got a watermelon in my stomach. It's just terrible.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I get the same from eating like a raspberry, Rick. If you give me a raspberry, half an hour later, my stomach will swell up like 4 or 5 inches. I'm like, wow, I haven't gained 4 or 5 inches worth of bloat. Like my body's not gained that much mass. It's just my body's reacting in such a way that whatever residual fluid maybe I had in my legs is all gone to my stomach to saying there's a problem here. We're going to inflame the crap out of this area to try and sort it out. Problem is people don't listen to that cue and they just keep doing it. So you've worked out yourself. Yeah, sit down, have 2 pounds of steak, all good, happy days. Go about my day, have my work, finish it. I'm a bit hungry later. Have another 2 pounds of a bit of yogurt, ferment it yourself, do something good for yourself. Then fine.
That's my
issue.
life.
Yeah. What else we got? So this gentleman's also shared the video to a co-worker, but it's been quite, by the looks of things, quite resilient about carnivory and having the right approach. I mean, what would your advice be, Rick, to someone like Thomas that is trying to share information to like fellow autistic people, or autistic people's mothers or fathers, and they're not willing to be reciprocate or understand.
The problem is, if people are not willing to listen, no matter what you say, they're just not going to listen. I've tried to convince people to try the carnivore diet, and the best thing that I found is to wait until they're having a moment of distress. Maybe they don't feel well. Maybe, I don't know, something else has gone wrong and they want to talk to you. And then you can make suggestions, because otherwise, if they're feeling good that day, they usually don't listen. They don't care. In my case, I call myself the carnivore quack because I'm basically a quack and people can laugh at me. But yeah, I think the best thing to do is wait until they have like a difficult moment, and then, have a little suggestion, because the experience I've had is that no matter how good of an orator you are, no matter how much information you have, most people aren't going to listen unless they really don't have any other choice. Maybe they're suffering so much and they feel so bad. So, you know what? I'm going to try it. In a way, it's like with me. I started the carnivore diet because I was sick and tired of being skinny and short and being picked on all the time, and I just didn't care anymore. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna eat all this meat and I'm gonna have a heart attack, and that's it. So I think maybe in that case, waiting until they're more receptive or at least more desperate, that might be the way to go.
Yeah, it takes so much desperation. I mean, I was lucky I came across the carnivore diet. Come February the 2nd, it'll be 5 years ago. So I got in there relatively quick or early compared to what some of the newer people have. My problem was the first year, 6 months to a year, I was just binging on and off. I didn't see the value of it until I sort of set aside a few weeks and just said, look, let's just be clean, stop eating shit, stop eating donuts, don't eat popcorn on the weekends. I don't even like this sort of food, Rick. The longer I've been on it, the more I'm just like, give me a load of butter with a load of cheese, with a load of eggs and some beef. I'm done. I'm good. I anticipate it. I look forward to it. Sits well. I enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get to the next few things. So someone's saying about science. They give the result of whoever pays them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I studied human nutrition as my degree in university. I'd say they definitely didn't promote a healthy carnivorous diet. I used to get looked at funny while I was eating I wasn't carnivore back then, but I was eating a meat-heavy diet anyway. And people used to look at me like, how do you eat that? I'm like, well, I managed to finish my food each day. Inside your Tupperware box, weighing about 1 kilo per meal of chickpeas, chia seeds, flax seeds, broccoli, carrots, all this shit. You leave most of yours, so you clearly don't enjoy it. So that's how I managed to eat my food, because I enjoy it and it's good for me. So yeah, there's definitely some bias against meat consumption in university. They used to have meat-free Mondays, Rick, which I thought was a travesty. So I just sat there like, oh my god, what do I eat? What do I eat? What do I eat? What do I eat? Yeah, they didn't even have eggs.
Ugh.
There's all seed oil, slop, and low-grade vegan sausages and stuff. I don't know.
They want to poison you. That's what they want to do.
They don't want to help you for sure.
No. And that's the thing, they feed the military crap, the college students crap, they feed the cheap garbage, and then the old people that are ready to die, they give them crap. It's sad. You would think if somebody's spending all that money to be in a nursing home, they should at least get a ground beef stew. I mean, at least I don't understand. And the thing is, in my case, I've always found the carnivore diet cheaper and simpler. When you live by yourself, it's so much easier. You don't have to spend time cooking and recipes. And, my mom had a bunch of cookbooks. I gave them all away. What am I going to do with these things? They're completely useless. All you need is meat and heat, and that's it. It's very simple. And even some things you can eat raw. I mean, if you think it's safe. But I don't get it. Really what it is, it comes down to, how can we make low-quality crap make us money? That's all it is. So it's much easier to grow a lot of commodity crops that they can store for a long period of time rather than just growing meat. The thing is, when you eat meat and you have a source of meat, it actually puts the power in your hands, because you can collect all the meats that you want and you can preserve them. You can can them. I've done that. You can freeze them. You can even ferment certain things to make them last longer. So you have all these options, and then you know what you're going to eat, because I open the refrigerator. I don't plan my meals. If I go to the refrigerator, I open it, I say, what's the oldest piece of meat in here? Okay, there's some beef, there's some chicken, there's some pork. I grab whatever meat is the oldest and I eat it. It's not like I'm craving, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I got to have this. And then like people I know, I have to have variety. I can't eat the same thing 3 days in a row. I'm like, why not? You know, I mean, I don't know. Don't you have a favorite food? Yeah, but I get tired of it. I said, then it's not really your favorite food. To me, a favorite food is a food you could eat every single day and never get tired of it. And of course, for me, that's steak. But for them, they don't know.
Yeah, my only, I think if I wasn't a bodybuilder, Rick, and say I just ate normal amount of food to satiety, wasn't really fussed about body composition, just being relatively lean, yeah, I'd probably eat the same sort of thing every day. I might swap, breakfast around with lunch, something like that, not a big deal. But yeah, largely speaking, I just go to the fridge. Oh, this is about to expire. I'll take this one out. I'll take this one out as well. Maybe I have half and half each meal. Then the next meal I have half and half each. Sometimes I just have loads of one thing in one meal. It's just depends what I'm going for. But yeah, I mean, some of a competitive bodybuilder, my goals are quite specific. I have to narrow things down a bit more, I track things, measure things. But that's unique to me. Now, if it didn't yield a positive effect, I wouldn't do it. But the thing is, it does yield a positive effect because I can see week to week, this is my body fat, this is my information. I track everything. So I don't think many of you might have seen this, but about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I showed you guys my tracker, like sleep, digestion. So I give myself a score based on loads of different metrics. How to say, basically, look at that, and so I make an average. Say, how did the week go? Well, I was bloated all week and I didn't sleep well. Okay, I'm eating too much food. Now, if my weight is dropping, my body fat is dropping, I'm trying to gain weight, but I feel bloated. What's the problem with either drinking too much fluid or I'm eating too much protein? My jaw hurts. Maybe I just need more fat because it's more energy dense. So I might lower the protein, increase the fat. Then someone will say, oh, but if you're trying to gain mass, why would you lower the protein? No, I'm facilitating that the protein will do more because I'm giving my body enough fat. So the protein will do its job better because I'm not trying to pigeonhole it into one separate element of my diet. So it's all a continuous thought process. So it's not as simple as protein, fat. There's also that bit in the middle, how much you need, which I try to get people to interpret and understand over time. But it's tricky because they're not as well managed, as in they don't measure things like I do. And that's fine. You don't have to get, a relatively lean, muscular body. But to get beyond that, so Eddie Hall on a carnivore diet, yeah, for him to get results he wants, he would have to be very specific. Because if he just ate to satiety on his carnivore diet and didn't try to force food in, he'd drop so much weight and he wouldn't be the Eddie Hall that we know. So he would have to track and say, okay, I'm eating 500 protein per day or something. And he knows, okay, I did 300 for a month and I dropped muscle and strength. Okay, he did the wrong thing. So now he knows to go back in time. He knows, okay, I need to increase the protein. So it's all a big experiment. I do experiment more than other people, but I track things and try to find the result that gives me the best bang for my buck. But yeah, we're having a lot of nice discussions with the chaps. I'm going to get through, and we've got 2 actual questions, which is helpful. And Mark, as always, spot on with his explanations. And what was RFK taking to maintain his muscle mass? Do you have any idea, Rick?
I don't know. They said he was on some kind of TRT, but nobody ever specified what he is taking. That is interesting. And plus, he's had a history. I think he had a history of drug addiction and stuff like that. So he never really was that big in the past. But that would be interesting to find out.
Yeah, apologies, got my head in the camera, but I'm gonna have a little look myself now. Yeah, he's in good shape. I'll present it on the screen for anyone that's wondering what he looks like, just so you guys can see what I'm saying.
He looks good for his, what is he, 70 years old?
That's respectable for 70. Yeah, that's very respectable. He's still got delts, so he's still doing direct deltoid work. Definition in the abs, rounded chest. You don't see that very often. He's got very long forearms and short arms. That's a structural thing. It's not a criticism. It's just so I noticed. Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, if I look like that, I hit it. That's awesome. That is cool. Yeah, I'd speculate. I'm not saying this is true. I don't know, but I'd speculate TRT and growth hormone. If I had to guess, dosages 150 testosterone and 2 to 3 units of growth hormone. I guess. I've never used growth hormone, so I don't really know its impact on the body, but I'd speculate based on what I know about bodybuilders use lower dosages. Anyway, next question. We've got a few more. So, what's your current carnivore meal routine? So, I'll go back about 10 minutes into this chat if you haven't yet heard it with me and Rick. I was basically saying my diet changes, my training changes based on my situation at that time. Now, I don't change it for the sake of changing it. I run experiments. So my life is a continuous experiment, whether it be trying to mitigate pain, build muscle, lose fat, build strength. I work out what needs to be done, but I try to make small changes each time so I know a week's span of intervention will yield this result. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, what do I do next? But yeah, if I'm, I don't know, I try and find something that can give you to bite your teeth on. So mixed animal food diet. I don't eat many eggs anymore. It seems to make my lip flare up, which is annoying. I still eat them, but I'll have like 2 or 3 once or twice a week. I do like eggs, but they don't like me. That's the thing where I've noticed I've isolated. That's a problem for me if I eat too many. Current macros. So protein, carbs, and fats. Proteins at 340, carbs are at 20, and fats at 240. So my protein's definitely significantly elevated. I'm still gaining muscle. It's weird. Some weeks I'll gain more weight, some weeks less weight. My main focus is not gaining additional body fat, and I've not actually gained, according to my tracker, at least for what it's worth, any body fat in 6 weeks, and I'm, as of this morning, 6.4 kilograms heavier. Some of that's going to be water, some of that's probably maybe a bit of acute localized inflammation. My drug protocol has changed. I don't tend to use bulky kind of compounds. I tend to use very lean compounds. Manage your blood pressure well, things like that. So it's a clean weight, and you can see in the photos which I've shared recently. So it's not, I've not blown up, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my macros. My training at the moment is very instinctual, just because my shoulder, I can't set myself a program and do exactly what I want. For example, today I was in the gym, I was doing upright rows, light cable, mid-range, nothing too high or too low. And you can't really sub it. My arm was pissing with blood as I was doing it. It's going orange all over my arms. It's like dripping blood all over the gym floor. But, yeah, the pain's gone down a bit, but the numbness is still there. But that's my current training is a bit pretty much instinctive. I like upper lower workouts at the moment. Some workouts I might tag on calves. Some workouts I might skip biceps for obvious reasons. High intensity training, 1 set per exercise. Maybe 60 to 120 seconds per set. That's broadly it. But yeah, I need to make another off-season diet and training plan sort of video at some point, and that'll give you a bit more consolidation. But what I say to people is don't try and copy what I do, or try and extrapolate and say, well, Jonathan weighs this much weight, therefore I should eat this much protein. No, I found this through doing it myself, running an experiment. So if you put me in a consultation with myself now versus 6 months ago, it'll be a different diet and training plan altogether. So yeah, hopefully that's useful anyway. I definitely agree with Paul here. Wise words, Rick, for sure. Rick's probably, I think you need to change your username to something like, I don't know, wise. I don't know, wise duck Rick or something. I don't know.
Hey, it's always a possibility. But, then again, it's kind of interesting, because if you look at us, you see we're like totally opposite in terms of physical, lifestyle, and so on. Jonathan maintains an incredible low body fat percentage and is basically sedentary other than his workouts, because he's got his diet dialed in to the way that he feels and the way he performs. And then you have me. I have a higher body fat percentage and I'm skinny, but mine is mostly for energy. I have to eat the carnivore diet to get as much energy as possible. So I think my fat percentage is probably a lot higher and is constantly being used. So, you have 2 different types, the 50-something over here, and then the 20-something that's a serious bodybuilder. So you're getting a good range of information on this channel.
Yeah, it definitely, it's different strokes for different folks. I mean, yeah, I could increase my fat much higher, but I'd gain body fat faster and I'd get inflamed faster. So what's the point? And if I'm gaining muscle at the rate that I want, based on my goals, based on what I consider a healthy endpoint and healthy start point, I'm right on track to achieve my goals this year for my bodybuilding off season. Now, yeah, if I have lots of cheat meals, eat junk food, I'm going to reach that number a lot quicker, but it's not going to be a good number. I'm not going to feel good for it. It's going to reinstall bad habits that I used to have. So for me, yeah, I'm especially strict because I have to by default, but not everyone has to do it. That's the thing. Got a question I think I've got a few more questions here. Also, have you seen anyone manage to treat severe OCD of carnivore? So how would you go about carnivore treating managing OCD? Honestly, I'll let Rick chime in this one. I'll just say very briefly that OCD is an absolutely crippling illness for a lot of people. I know a few people that have it on a personal level, and I coach quite a few of them. It's more common amongst women than men for some reason, or at least the people that I work with seem to spot it more. What I found useful is having some kind of way to track your symptomology, identifying the cause of the problem. So if there's a trigger, i.e., it might not be OCD, it might be orthorexia. Their symptomology is quite similar in that you like to control things within your own paradigm, but how you express them's a bit different. So some people might be a clean freak, some people might be a cut your food up and put it into different triangles of your segments of your plate kind of freak. There's different kind of people. But I'd say having a way to track your symptoms is important. Having a coach on board who'll sort of help you to condition yourself to sort of have a more appropriate relationship with food, if it's that, or your kind of symptoms. But it depends what they are. I think if it's a lifestyle thing, like for example, if you have OCD and you want to use a gym and you can't get there because the situation is too stressful, we'll find a way out of it. Maybe you have to have a home gym. Maybe you train at home gym 2 times a week. Maybe once a week you go for a swim. You can control your own variables then, so that might be better for you. But do you have any sort of advice or anecdotes, experiences of people with OCD that you've met on a carnivore diet?
I have a friend, my ex-vegan friend. I don't know if he's really OCD, but he had a lot of the characteristics of it, always wanting to control the situation and then second guessing his own actions. And it did improve. And he's not really on the carnivore diet. He's actually on a meat-based keto diet, which I think is about maybe 50-60% meat. And there is some plant material in there. And of course, there's also eggs and a little bit of dairy. But I did notice a big improvement. And sometimes another thing I noticed about him is he always, oh, did I leave the light on? Oh, did I leave the stove on? Oh, did I leave my keys in the car? But then over time, that went away. And then also this constant need to control. I need to check this. I need to do that. I need to make sure they're doing the right thing. He's kind of backed away from that. And I think part of it is just when your blood sugar is more stable. I think, because I know he was verifying that by testing it. You don't get these ups and downs all the time. It seems like they're just better able to think. I think that's one of the problems, because I noticed that when they have their coffee or soft drink or whatever, then they're all riled up. And then later on, there's like this drop, and then they'd forget everything. So I don't know if that's really the same thing, but I notice the characteristics are similar. And I think that's the main thing in terms of the carnivore diet. You just have to limit those sugar-containing foods that produce the blood sugar spikes. And that seems to help. But again, I'm not a doctor or scientist. It's just what I've seen, in real life.
Yeah, I mean, that's worth a lot more than a study on rodents, Rick. So what can you do? That's good advice, honestly. Thomas asked, do you feel that Eddie Horn in this diet was waste potential? Yeah. I wanted to see him succeed. I think he did with what he achieved in a month or two. I think he dropped about 9 kilograms of body fat. He looked better, yeah. What I kind of wish he did was I wish he did it in a much more structured fashion where he sort of said, right, I'm going to do a strict carnivore diet, not the fluff, not the crap that he's adding to it, basically. I think that probably took quite a bit away from it. I think Sean Baker probably did give him very solid advice and suggestions when he started it. But honestly, I think he would have been better served if he spoke with me, just because I'm a bit more relatable in that kind of body composition sense. just because I've eaten more than Sean Baker on a routine fashion sort of thing. So I think I can probably relate to Eddie a bit more. Also, I'll be probably a bit more straight with him because Sean Baker's a lot more. I don't want to say he's inaccurate or how to put it. It's like I'm a bit more clear cut and a bit more abrupt, but I'll tell people the truth. Like, honest, I'll be like, sat in that sort of discussion with him as consult, like saying, let Eddie, if you had in like spinach after a few weeks, you're gonna feel like shit. I can't imagine Eddie Hall saying, Sean Baker saying it. I'd say Sean Paul say, oh, you could do, but you might not feel that good. No, you're gonna feel like death. So I think having that kind of straightforward language and terminology might be more helpful for someone like Eddie. Eddie's not someone that I believe he's got ADHD. He's not someone that responds particularly well with situations where he's sort of not given a clear direction. So I think if I broke him out a diet and training plan, that would have served him a bit better, in my opinion. But what can you do? But yeah, I mean, I wish he does continue it, and I wish that he gets all the results he wants. But it'd be really cool to see a powerlifter or strongman following the carnivore diet, and I mean a competitive one, just because I don't think it's possible. I want to be disproven. I want to be disproven just because the amount of food you have to eat to maintain a 400-pound body is insane. Like I'm struggling to maintain 102 kilos or something. So
yeah. Well, the other thing too is that powerlifting is different because you're just basically getting physics. The heavier you are, it may actually be to your advantage in some of these lifts because if you were strong but you were leaner, you might be more likely to just fall over. So I could see why they do that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see the point of it. I would never put my body through that. I think it would be better to be more into physique or bodybuilding than it would to be in this powerlifting because all they're doing is just trying to be strong and fat at the same time. And I really don't think that's a really good long-term health strategy.
I mean, from my experience, I need to turn the light on, don't I? But from my experience, it's been that. There's another light. Back up. My experience has been people just can't eat enough food that do strongman and powerlifting. So when I hear like a guy who's like, "Oh, I do mixed martial arts. I need the carbohydrates." I'm like, "You don't, mate. I oxidize about double the amount of mass food intake that you do in a day, and I'm not struggling. I'm not a genetic anomaly. I'm not anything special. I can still train really hard. You can see in my videos on YouTube like how hard I'm actually going. It's not like drop the weight. Oh, I'm not strong enough. I can't hold it anymore. No, I'm going till I can't move anymore. So it's not an issue with substrate conversion from whatever into glucose. It just doesn't seem to exist. So yeah, a bit of fat adaptation will do the job, I think, for a lot of people. Just a bit of time. Being asked about the eggs now. So have you tried just the yolks for eggs and suggestion on cooking? No, so eggs in any capacity that I eat them will cause my lips to flare up if I'm in a bad situation, haven't slept well, I'm stressed, my detox pathways aren't working very well. Eggs don't work. I can tolerate about 2 or 3 eggs. That's about it. I've tried all the combinations, the egg whites, the poaching, the boiling, the raw, the yolks. No, my body doesn't like it. So some days I will actually eat them, and much to my own regret, my own demise, I'll get a flare up from them, and I'll do it again a few days later. It's just human nature. Sometimes you do stupid stuff, but I wanted the eggs. So for me, that decision was overridden by the fact that I fancied some eggs. So there we go.
Yeah, when it comes to eggs, raw eggs do that to me. Raw eggs give me gas and stomach aches, so I cannot eat raw eggs. So there's definitely something in eggs that's a problem for some people.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I think it's the albumin proteins, or there's another protein that I can't remember what it is. Avidin as well Avidin's not so much an anti-nutrient, it's more just a biotin uptake inhibitor, which means it's not like going to wreck your guts, but it just means that you're not going to extract as much of one particular nutrient from the food that you would otherwise if you didn't have it raw. That's basically it. So did you listen to Dr. Ted Naiman, his optimal diet? So, yeah, I mean, Dr. Ted Naiman got his ideas from bodybuilders of about 30 years ago. So what they did was very similar to his approach. You have your off-season protein intake. Say it was 5 chicken breasts a day, whatever, I don't know. Say it was a cup of rice for each meal. That's what guys did. All they'd do is say, right, I'm going to have, say it's a kilo of chicken. I'm going to start my diet next week and add 1.1 kilos of chicken, maybe 1 kilo of rice. Then next week, 1.2 kilos chicken, 900 grams of rice. Up, lower, up, lower. It's the same practical kind of advice that Ted Name was giving. It kind of does work because you're reducing the energy substrate that has more potential for fat gain, storage as glucose, etc., etc. The problem is when people start to go to the point where it's so extreme, where you're eating boiled chicken breast with no additional fat, that's when people have the issues. Dr. Ted Name doesn't promote that by any means, but I'd say a lot of his work has been extrapolated from bodybuilders, and he did pay his due diligence though, and he sort of approached 2 researchers. One of them, their name is Raubenheimer. Basically, they did studies on insects, might have been crickets, I don't know, something like that. Basically, they gave them a bolus of food, and they found the ones that ate their protein intake at roughly 40% of their caloric labeled food energy value from protein, it did not gain body fat. Is when they met a satiety point and they couldn't overeat. They didn't get fat. Fat crickets. I don't know, but I don't know how I don't know how they did the study. But what they found then was the ones that ate less protein, so less than 40% of the energy value from protein, they would gain body fat because they didn't hit that nutrient satiety, nutrient signaling point from the protein, which contains amino acids, vitamins, minerals, etc., etc. So that's kind of his approach, and it is quite similar to mine. Yeah, I think it does work, like the increasing protein and lowering energy substrate from the diet for fat loss purposes. The point is, how far along that diet do you want to go? And what are your hard limits? So is it 80% protein, 20% fat? Is it 70-30? Where is it? You'll find it gets a point where you just can't lower fat or carbohydrates if you eat them anymore. Also, if you increase protein anymore, you end up feeling full but miserable because you got no nourishment from essential fatty acids. So it's about finding that balance and just tweaking things to get where you want to get. And it doesn't have to be all these like bodybuilding diets, guys. They don't have to be incrementally perfect. They don't have to be, add in 50 protein, lower 50 fat. Sometimes you might lower 50 protein and up 50 fat, or vice versa. It's not this strict regimented step-by-step thing. Your body does all this weird shit along the way, so you have to know what to do at the time. So that's what I do when I coach people. I teach them how to listen to their body, what markers to track, what the best approach is. And sometimes guys will just stick at something, they suffer with it. They don't tell me like, I've got a sore stomach. I'm like, how long has this been going on? About 4 weeks. I'm like, why didn't you tell me 4 weeks ago? We wouldn't be going through this right now. It's all about feedback, and it's not just feedback from me, it's feedback with yourself. Check in with your body and saying, this isn't working, this is working. And it's just something Rick's been doing for 40 plus years now on his carnivorous diet, and me for nearly 5. What works, what doesn't. Ignore all the influences, I guess.
Yeah. And the thing is that I can find out very quickly. I had somebody give me some meat that was cooked with beans. I took the meat out of the beans and I still got sick. So I think the longer you've been on it, you just get more and more in tune with your body, and you know what to avoid. And even when people tell you, well, it's not going to hurt you, and then you agree and then it still hurts you. I said, look, it's just the way it is. It's not something that you could change. Even if you try to think positively, it's going to happen. And I thought, well, I thought nothing would happen. This is the thing. I didn't say, I'm going to get sick. I said, that's fine. And I ate it. And then, of course, I got sick, and I didn't expect it. But here I am looking for a toilet because everything was just starting to fight back at me. And it had been months since I had a problem like that. And yet there it was. So, and that's like you said, I hate it when people try to give you advice, especially these online influencers with authority, because they believe that they're right. But the thing is, they're not right. And, I guess it's up to us to understand that our experience is just or even more valid to us than what they're telling everybody else.
That's right. Yeah, trust yourself and listen to your own body. A lot of people just don't. You know, the amount of people I come across in consults are like, "Oh, I'm not gaining muscle. I do intermittent fasting." I say, "Stop there. There's your problem. You're trying to pigeonhole yourself into one time slot of eating when you could be hungry half an hour before. And maybe you're struggling to get food in because you deliberately cut your eating time in half. You know, I know Rick, you're like me. You like quite a few meals in a day, 3-4 meals, but you require that much food. You're not going to be easily getting down 4 pounds of meat, a kilo of yogurt, and half a pound of cheese in one sitting. It's going to be hard work.
No.
So
If I do that, I'm going to be sleeping for the next 2 hours afterwards.
I know that feeling. Yeah, it does dump you out a bit. Jeez.
And this is the thing. I always get so sick of these people with their internet fasting. And I said, look, if I eat all the food that I need, I'm not going to be as productive, because they say, well, if you eat less frequently, you'll be more productive. I said, no, because if I eat that much, I'm going to be lazy. And then it's going to take a while to get back. You know, I know what my body can handle. 2 pounds of meat is ideal for a meal. If I eat more than that, the more I eat, the more it's going to slow me down. If I double it to 4 pounds, I'm out. So if right now I ate 4 pounds of meat for lunch, I'm not going to be able to do anything until maybe 4 o'clock. So why would I do that?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's well said. Thomas has said about powerlifting and weight classes. Yeah, I mean, I personally think a athlete that is a lower body weight than me or similar would thrive on a carnivorous diet. So whether that be tennis, hockey, football, American football, powerlifting, yeah. I think the limit is where you're trying to push your body to a very unnatural body weight. That's where you're going to see issues. So no, you're not going to find Eddie Hall doing OMAD. You're not going to find him doing, I don't know, what's it called, 80-20 sardine fasts and all this shit. He's not going to do it. He's not going to last very long.
No.
You know, as you get further outside the bracket of what is humanly possible for, you know, for a living being, you're going to find that you have to be more diligent. You can't just get away with it. A lot of people get away with stuff in their diet, and that's fine. But the further up the food chain, so to speak, you go, the more tricky things are, I found. But yeah, I think anyone like a light, heavyweight bodybuilder, for example, could probably achieve a great physique. Yeah, it's finding that cut off, and I would be keen one day to meet the strongest carnivore out there. It can't be me, because I'm not that strong anymore. So there's got to be someone out there following this diet that's stronger than me. There has to be. Sean Baker, one example. He can deadlift and squat more than me, obviously. So yeah, very interesting. He gets his carbs from protein, kind of funny reading about it and trying different stuff. Yeah, Eddie Hall's approach is quite odd. But what you got to think is, when these guys make these videos and say, oh, this is so much protein and fat I eat, they usually pick the day when they're going to the supermarket, to Costco, buying the fattiest steaks, spending the most amount of money and eating the most amount of food because it's their cheat day. It's not what they eat a lot of the time. Depending on what podcast you listen to, Sean Baker's a pretty honest guy, to be honest. I don't think he's a bad example for someone to listen to, but if you listen to different podcasts throughout the years of when he's been on and said, oh, I eat this and this, he's eaten anywhere from 3 pounds of lean ground beef per day up to 6 pounds of ribeye steaks. That's a massive variance, nearly double.
Mm-hmm.
So someone saying, oh, he routinely eats this, not maybe at certain points of his training, maybe, yeah, but it's not a long-term thing. So what you find most people doing is, at least people that I speak to, is about 1.5 pounds of meat per day, 3 or 4 eggs, a few tablespoons of butter, coffee if they like it, salt. Most people have salt. They might have some cream with the coffee, something like that. That's what most people eat. But then there's always been people like Rick who eat double or triple or 3 times more than that. But Rick is a tall human being who's very physically active, who's outside in the sun sweating all day, probably requiring, I don't know, more salt, more hydration of people, maybe, I don't know. So his needs are different. It's a different body, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's really unfortunate that the government wants us sick.
I don't know if the government really wants us sick, but they want us to be basically like cattle, so dependent, that they can take from us.
Absolutely, yeah. I think dependence the right word. I mean, I have heard of like people that have been medical sales reps go online and say, well, I spoke to the pharmaceutical company and they said, you know, patient cured as a customer lost, something like that. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. Like a lot, I think there is that incentive from a lot of people, but what you're thinking is when these guys are so entrenched in it, when they're sat there in their offices, you know, and their wife and children at home, they've got to earn money, they're trying to like live their best life. They don't really look past that bottom number. They don't.
Yes.
They don't have empathy. So there is evil in this world, and this evil can come from a family man sat at home who's working a 9 to 5, but they don't realize it. They think they're doing their best service for their, you know, family and country, but not always true, in my opinion.
Right.
Saw Dr. Baker say that the outside of the grocery store is where you'd be best to shop, probably. That's why. I mean, that's what you did in your recent supermarket haul. You do what I do. So you sort of think, all right, I need to get back there to that deli counter of the meat or butcher's counter, whatever. Walk back there, pick up, expensive, pick up, expensive. Well, that's a bit cheaper, pick up. Take it to the front, done. Goodbye.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I go for as well. Yeah, life's a lot easier now. I don't tease myself going to these like middle aisles. There's nothing really interesting there. It's just,
you know, when
food.
When I used to take care of my mother, she used to give me these detailed grocery lists, and I used to get very frustrated because I would spend hours at the stores. She would have 3 or 4 stores. Get this. And I'm like, my goodness, and it was terrible. I mean, I was going to the store every few days, and I told my mom, I said, why is this so complicated? Well, I don't want to eat like you. All you do is eat meat. Yeah, and what's wrong with that? You know, it's like, well, you're the caveman. You know, it's my mother used to say, you're like a lion or tiger. You just throw him a steak and he'll be happy. I said, yeah, that's fine. I mean, why do we have to have all these complicated breads and chips and vegetables and fruits and all this stuff? I said, Mom, if you want fruit, just wait and see what's in season out in the yard and eat that. You know, I got avocados and mangoes, and I got citrus, I got bananas, all kinds of fruits. It's not like there's no fruit out there, but then you have to go to the store, you buy all this food, and guess what? Half of it gets rotten. You know, you put it in the refrigerator and then you forget about it, and then I have to clean it out. I have to keep throwing this stuff out constantly. I mean, it was ridiculous. You know, the garbage smell was enough to make anyone sick. Always in the kitchen, you have that can with the rotting garbage in it, stinking up the place. And I don't live like that. You know, whatever I don't eat is thrown right out the window into the yard. It's just a few bones. I mean, what is there left? You eat a steak, how much waste is there? How often did meat go bad? I think in my whole life, only twice did I have meat go bad. One time was because we had a hurricane and my generator broke and I had some meat go bad. Another time I had to go on a business trip and I left some steaks in the refrigerator and some chicken and it went bad. That's it in 41 years. And meanwhile, the vegan friends I have constantly, you open their garbage can, there's all the packaging, all the bad fruits and vegetables. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just crazy. And to go to the grocery store and have all that stuff in the middle that's all made by these big food corporations, you're just making them rich. You know, I would rather just go to the farm. Who even needs a supermarket? Just go to the farm and buy what you want. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm just crazy. But to me, it seems obvious that it just, like you said, you go to get what you want and you pay for it. I spend more time at the checkout than I do shopping. That's the way it works for me.
You probably do. You got long ass legs, Rick. It probably takes you like 6 paces to get to the end.
Do I look like I move fast?
I don't know. When I watched your supermarket sort of like walk through, I was like, I can't tell if you're moving really fast or you just got really long legs. It's probably a bit of both. I don't know. But you seem to get across there pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I do move a lot faster than the average person. That's true. Even on my bicycle, you know, sometimes I get to the store faster than driving because by the time you sit in traffic, and the other problem is these parking lots, these people don't know where they're going. They take forever to get in and out of the space. And it's really frustrating because when I drive, it's like when I walk. I like to go right for the goal, park, walk it. They have to always get the space closest to the store. They're going to go around and around and around looking for that space and then waiting there. Me, I just find the nearest space. I go in, I walk in, I get out, and they're still out there trying to park their car. So it's really frustrating to me. And then they tell me, well, Rick, wait till you get to be old. You're going to be slower. I said, look, the way I'm going to be dead before I get to be slow. I don't want to be one of
Yeah.
those people that's with the walker, and then they have to ride in the electric cart. You see that at the store, and they're riding around. It's so frustrating. And if you look in their basket, you don't see just steak. You see the canned foods, the packaged foods, all that stuff. I've never seen one of those people in those electric carts with just meat.
It's funny that we can, it's like an observational study, like a field study, but it is. Yeah, I mean, if I look at supermarkets and I go to the shop, I look at the person in front of me on the checkout. If it's a young person, it'll be like ready meals, pizzas, and if you're lucky, you might find a pack of like reformed, reconstituted ham, maybe a few eggs, sort of thing. But all they're going to do is chuck out the yolks and eat the whites, Yeah, I do see that a lot, and I mean, what I like to do is I shop at Lidl at the moment just because it's near to where I go to the gym. As you know, like my life has to be okay. How do I tag in as much things as I can while I'm in a certain area? Like, how do I minimize my walking and excursions and detours and things? Yes, I go to Lidl and I got like a coupon card thing. I don't know. It's on my phone, like an app. And every week you get one of 3 things, I believe. So first one is either a pack of cheese or dairy, or you can get a pack of fruit, or you can get a pack of baked goods. If it's fruit, I'll give it to my mum. She eats fruit. It's better than chocolate, I think. So I give her the fruit. If it's dairy, like cheese slices, I'll usually have it myself or share it. And if it's baked goods, I give it to my nan. She's 94 years old. She likes baked food. She's relatively healthy. She's very healthy for her age. Doesn't take medication. Well, yeah, if she wants to enjoy life and enjoy that food, I don't feel bad giving her processed shit. She enjoys it. She's 94 years old. She still walks around, doesn't need aids or anything like that. Doesn't take meds. So who am I to sort of stop her from having something dictate what she should and shouldn't do? Now, my mum, would I give her baked goods? Maybe, maybe not. She's dealing with her own sort of health issues, so a fruit is a better option. I think the problem is people don't see these things as better options. They just put it all in the fucking basket. They don't have this rationale in their head to say, maybe I shouldn't eat this, so I'm just going to get one, or get one portion, or whatever it is. They'll say, oh, it's only £1, or $1 more to get a pack of 6 versus a pack of 3. Let's go get a pack of 6. It's like, you still have to eat that. That still has to go through your body. It's still going to pay a burden on your body if you're not in a healthy position to deal with that food. So, my experience, it's not ideal to sort of look down these middle aisles. I think it doesn't add to people's lifespan or health span.
Yeah, fruit, I think, definitely is an improvement, because I grow and I give away fruit. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel like I'm poisoning anybody by giving them bananas or mangoes or whatever, because this is seasonal fruit. I think that your body can handle these ups and downs. I mean, if you're going to eat fruit for a week, even if you eat a bunch of it, how much damage can you really do to your body? Now, if you eat the same thing every day, let's say you had a big fat mango every day, your blood sugar is going to be off the chart, and eventually it's going to break you down. But if you're just going to eat it while it's in season, and I think humans have done that since the beginning of time, I don't see anything wrong with that. See, the thing is, a lot of people, they criticize me because, even online, well, you eat fruit. Well, I hardly ever eat fruit, but I do give it away. So they say, well,
Look
you're
at your
just...
health status, though.
Well, that's it. Your health status. That's the thing. I don't have a problem. I don't gain weight, but if a person is sick and they have all these symptoms and then they're eating food that makes it worse, I really don't understand the logic behind it. And like you said, there's so many people on medications. I don't take any medications. If everybody was like me, these pharmaceutical companies would simply go out of business. I don't even take supplements. So they couldn't sell me any vitamins. They couldn't sell me any medications. What are they going to do? But, just... if you have someone that's living healthy and they want to eat the duck food and they like it, okay, that's fine. But when people are sick and they eat that stuff, that's what really bothers me, because like my vegan friends, they constantly complain about gastritis and they have high blood pressure and this and that. I said, well, why don't you try the carnivore diet? Oh, no, I can't do that. The carnivore diet, it's not right. Okay, well, but then they complain. I said, look, why do you complain to me about this? When I give you some advice, you don't want it, stop complaining. Go complain to somebody else. I don't understand the mentality.
That's literally it. I mean, I always draw comparison with my brother. We've got the same parents, obviously, but we've got different health outcomes, experiences. Even he, we went to the Carnival conference in the UK back in, I think it's July or something. And even he's like way more on board now than he used to be. He's not a carnivore. He's not going to say, oh, I follow the carnivore diet. He just says, I eat predominantly meat-based. Yeah, I like my popcorn. I'll have a bit of chocolate with my dinner sometimes if I've been given some. But he's healthy. He does fitness. He does resistance training 4 times a week. He walks dog once or twice a day. He gets sunlight. He does grounding. He doesn't do the glasses like I do, but most of the other stuff, he does make a concerted effort to live a bit better. So I can't fault him for that. He's doing more than what he was before. And I don't think I've told you yet, Rick, but I'm going to be an uncle in May. Which,
really?
So I'm very excited. Yeah, it's a massive driving force for me right now. In terms of like, motivation, like how I feel sort of thing. And they're trying for a long time to have children. It'll be my first nephew or niece. And I'll find out the sex of the child for the next 3 days, I think. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
That's great.
I think there's so many other things like the air quality. I've installed an air filter that I got for my Christmas. So I've had it now for about a week or nearly a week and a half, 2 weeks, actually, because I got it a bit earlier. You put essential oils in it and things like that. And that's actually near enough doubled my REM sleep. I know, like, people sell sleep trackers, watches, and like. The thing is, I'm sleeping better now because of it. So I'm just going to run with it. I'm not going to look into it and say, does a air filter fix sleep? I don't need to know. My sleep is better now since adding it in. So,
See, it works. That's the main thing. I run into these problems all the time. Yeah. If it works, it's good.
That's exactly.
My air different. My air is terrible. My house is full of mold and mildew, and it's run down. But the funny thing is, it doesn't bother me. If I go to a new building, like I was doing work in a condominium, I got really sick. I started having allergies, which I don't normally get. The worst thing I get is a little irritation in my nose, maybe a sniffle now and then. But when I go to work in those places, then I'm sniffling. You'll see sometimes I do a video and I'm going, that's because I was working in an office. But if I'm at home or I'm working outside, I don't have a problem. And again, it's just, for me, what helped most to sleep was a new air conditioner. I put a new air conditioner in my room. I set it for 65 degrees, and I get a good night's sleep every night. That's all I need.
Yeah.
So if an air filter does it, go for it. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was Andrew Scarborough that got me into that. So Andrew's one of the most geeked out, hacked out biohacking people I know. Because he's tried all this stuff because he's had to, because his life has depended on it. So who do I go for advice and things like that? We'll go to him. If there's a better way to do something, he would know what it is. So these are the true experts. People actually do it, run an experiment, get the results from it. You found yourself like the aircon, 65 degrees, bam, much better. That's exactly what people should be doing. They should be finding ways to just feel better and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're saying about having the sniffle sort of thing when you've been to a sterile environment. So when I was working through the C19 times, I guess you could say, everyone's washing hands, scrubbing, hand gels, all that sort of shit. And I was always having like a runny nose. I'm not someone that gets a runny nose. I don't deal with upper respiratory tract infections or illnesses. It wasn't like I was ill, but my body knew it was like we've downregulated our mucosal barrier, our first line defense, because we don't need it anymore. So the moment I was in any interacting situation with any kind of bacteria, my body was like, what the fuck have you just done? Oh my God. So then it sort of put up the defenses and said, right, let's start sneezing and snotting it out and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, I would not have to deal with this if I was less hygienic. It's nuts, but it's odd. We're always trying to like perfect and refine, and it's human nature, I guess, but sometimes we don't help ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. We've got a something from Christopher. Thank you for joining. So, hi all. I'm cleaning up the kitchen, doing meal prep, but I'll be listening. Happy New Year. Cheers, Christopher. Happy New Year to you too. If you have any questions, chuck them in the chat. What I'd like actually for YouTube next year, I don't think it's going to happen, so I'm just guessing, but is if you could like send in like a photo or like a voice note in a live chat. How good would it be if I could just be like, oh, Thomas has asked a question, press play. Hi, Jonathan, I've got a question about da-da-da-da-da. That'd be so much better. Then like you can hear it, it's more interactive and it's more personal, you know? That's the thing with these messages, it's just pictures on screen with writing.
I'm thinking of doing similar on my live that I have on Saturday, but I'm going to get my old telephone, you know, with the lines on it. And I was thinking about having it with my phone number where they could call in, and I'll just patch it in through the mixer. And then that way they could ask the question. I've done that before years ago, before they had any of this streaming software. I thought about doing that again, but I work so much, I just don't have a lot of time. But tomorrow should be a day off because it's New Year's. I may play around with that. But I'm going to try to make the Saturday thing a regular thing. I'll start at 8 and then see how long people stay. Last time it was 2.5 hours. I was really surprised because it's the first time I couldn't believe that many people watched. So, you know, I think my theory was this. When I first came out as a carnivore in 2022, it was the trend. And I think what happens is it goes up and then it peaked. And I think now it's starting to come back down. A lot of these so-called influencers, they're losing interest. Some people have quit. Not everybody can be on the carnivore diet. Of course, like you and I say, not everybody needs to be on the carnivore diet. But I think a lot of people, they're saying, well, you go on the carnivore diet, it's going to fix all your health problems. You're going to live to 120 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, oh, no, not that. You know, this is the same kind of nonsense that vegans were pushing. You know, like Dr. Greger, How Not to Die. I mean, come on. I don't want to be a part of that. So I pulled back. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do the minimum. But now that's going away. And I think my time is going to come up because I'm like one of the carnivores that I'm not that serious about it. And yet I may be the strictest carnivore of all, but I'm not serious about it. It's like you said, I eat what I want. I live the way I want. So it's not like willpower. Oh, you have to have determination and willpower and you have to go on the line. They're like, no, I don't do any of that. You know, I do what I like. I just like living this way. So I'm trying to get that kind of attitude out there so people can look at me. They say, you know, you don't have to work out. You don't have to be strict. You can still be a carnivore. Now, if you want to move to the next level, then you go to the other channels. You know, you look at this guy over here, and then you might want to improve your physique.
You refine things, yeah.
Yeah, you know, because we're not all the same. We're not all super strict. I mean, you got carnivores out there that drink coffee and smoke cigars. So it's like, what's the difference? You know, it's just what level do you want to be at? Do you want to be just like starting? Maybe you want to be the meat-based keto. Maybe you want to go up. Maybe you want to be the strict carnivore. Or you want to be a Sean Baker. Okay, you have all these people that you can look at, and don't look at any of them as authority because none of us are. We're just regular people like you. We have different experiences. So I'm going to try to add myself to that and see if maybe I can get a little more interest. There's a few people now here in Florida. Once I fix my truck, I may start being able to drive around and meet them. And that's the best part, meeting people in person. I've met one so far, and that's Russ Mitchell. And, you know, he's the first one, but he'll be one of many. I think it's going to increase as time goes on.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be in a better financial situation, and for yourself, obviously, of course, down the tracks where we can arrange these collaborations and these meetups and sort of thing, and do like a live podcast where you're sat next to me. Oh, hi Rick, how's it going? You know, what do you think about, I don't know, duck on the menu or something like that? So I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah,
right.
I like what you said about, you know, there's people that have expertise in different things. If you want your blood results looked at, you can ask me. I can give you an indication. You're going to get all the science by going to someone else that interprets blood results. If you want to know about training and diet, body composition, yeah, you can approach me and I'll probably help you out quite well. Then again, might not work for you. Maybe you need a different approach. I am firm. I am quite strict with people just because my specialism is giving people a program, making it easier for them to stick to, than keeping them on track. So making sure they do the right changes. I'm much better with like a 3-month coaching client than like a 2-year coaching client, because 2-year coaching clients, they just want the accountability. I kind of prefer personally to work with people that have like very specific kind of ideals and goals that they want to achieve, because I know how to get there the quickest. There's nothing. It's kind of me the way I am as well. I don't really like to work with many people that are a bit fluffy with their goals. I find it frustrating because I can make the perfect plan for achieving lots of different things for them, but it's going to be hard to stick to if they have a different goal every week, and that just winds me up. I'm not the most patient with that sort of thing, so I'm like, I don't want to put myself into a position where I'm redundant. Like it's like you, Rick. If you go to someone's house, you're like, "What's the problem?" Oh, the electricity and the lights don't work. Okay, great. Oh, I also need my cat litter changed. What? I'm not here to change a cat litter. I'm here to fix the fucking lights.
That's right. Well, it's like I tell them, if you want to get your cat litter changed, you got to wait until I fix the lights, and then I'm going to quote you a price. I'm not going to do it at the same time. We solve one problem at a time. And the other thing too, not everybody is an expert in everything. And this is a problem with some of these influencers. People look to them as some kind of God, and they forget they're one of many, many, many people that have different experiences. You may not be a good fit for one, but there may be one out there that's a good fit for you. I mean, obviously, 99% of the population is not going to listen to my advice because I'm a total quack. But on the other hand, there is that 1% that would benefit.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think I have to give some credit where it's due to some influencers, because I know you've sort of said how people they're very extreme and sensationalistic, like just eat meat, salt and water, and this will be good, and you'll live to 120. Blah blah blah. The thing is, almost to entice a certain kind of person, you have to be a bit over the top. So, I mean, imagine you're a 20-year-old lad watching me right now, and I say to you, "Oh, eat meat, salt and fat." There's N15 isotope data, and it says that we should only eat meat. About 80% ruminant meat plus. Now, if I said that, it's not going to appeal to a young person. If I say, we climbed from the trees, we came down like apes, we found all the food and foraged around us. We're true hunters with apex predators. Well, what's going to appeal more to someone watching it as young?
Yeah,
it's it's like, I kind of get, we have to, as I'm not going to say influencers, but people that create content, we have to kind of appeal to a certain market. The hard part is keeping these young folks on the ball, because they're not that unhealthy yet. They've only been doing the standard American diet for a few years. Now, I've been demolishing my body of a bodybuilder diet for God knows how long. So up until about 5 years ago. So yeah, I've probably accrued about 30 years worth of damage in 7 or 8 years of eating, junk food basically. So my standpoint's a bit different to other people's, but it's about doing your best and trying to achieve the most out of what you can. The thing that I really don't like is when people say, "Oh, you can't afford it; it's too expensive." I'm like, obviously not. I mean, Rick and I aren't poor individuals. We have money in the bank. We can spend money, buy our own food. We're independent, but we're not super rich that we're buying the most expensive grass-fed, grass-finished ribeyes. We're going to the shop, we're going to the reduced section, finding what's affordable. Oh, it's a bit cheaper today. Oh, there's a coupon for this at the dollar store, whatever it is. Okay, we'll go there. And there are ways around it. I mean, I'm doing it, for fuck's sake, and I can't leave my room for the most part. So that just speaks volumes, doesn't it? Really.
That's right. That's the thing, and people keep saying that, and it's not true. I've proved it for years, but they don't listen to me. They say, "Oh, well, you don't eat much." I say, if you think I don't eat much, you don't know me. Because everyone that knows me knows, keep Rick away from the meat. We're having a barbecue. You better grab your steaks now because it'll be gone. And I've had it where they get their steaks and it sits there. Oh, I'll come later. They come back. Where are the steaks? Rick ate them all. He ate all those steaks? Yes. Because the thing is, I don't eat anything else. They're over there. After they have the steak, they have their dessert, they have their salad, whatever. I just eat steak. That's it. And then they say, well, and then I'm the one that's also building the fire. So I was the one out there chopping the wood, I'm splitting it, cutting it, doing all the wood, building the fire. And then they look at me and they're like, wow, and he ate that much meat? Yeah. Because they say, well, if they ate that much meat, they would be weighed down. If let's say they had 2 steaks, that's it. They're weighed down. But they always have room for that dessert. They always have room for that cheesecake.
Second stomach, isn't it?
Yeah, or the key lime pie. Whatever. In fact, they say, "Oh, I have to eat dessert because it makes my stomach feel better after all that meat." Like, wow, unbelievable. but I guess that's the way most people are.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't go to many of these social things anymore, but people sort of say, "Oh, help yourself." I'm like, "Are you sure? You're telling me to help myself? You're gonna stick by that word, are you? Because in the next 10 minutes, all this food's gone." But yeah, it's funny. Rick, you're like this. I'm gonna head off in about 5-10 minutes. Just so if you guys have any questions, get them in now, sort of thing. Yeah, I did. I went to the new gym that I've started going to. They hosted a Christmas party about a month ago. I went to it immediately after my surgery, basically, because I'm nuts. And it's 20 British pounds, about $25 US. So it is included, I believe it is a drink, music, what do you call it? DJ and food. It's like a buffet picnic spread sort of thing. And everyone that was there came up to me and said, "Oh, what do you think of the food? It's a bit." Like, what do you mean? What between the smoked salmon canapes, the cream cheese, the caviar, the prawn skewers, the chicken wings, the cheese board, between all that, you don't think it's very good? What? Like, what is caviar? It's like the most expensive food you can buy apart from Wagyu A5 steaks. Like, what more do you want? But they're used to duck food. That's the thing that, they're anticipating, oh, I want a slice of pizza. It's like pizza versus smoked salmon with a bit of cream cheese and some caviar on it. Come on. Even if you don't like caviar, you have to appreciate, it's a delicacy sort of thing. It's an expensive food.
Yes,
so I was
it
there
is.
eating it all. I was loving it. I was like, bring in more. Keep going.
Fish eggs and cream cheese, I'm all for that.
Yeah, they work quite well, to be honest. But yeah, that was an odd situation. But it's funny how people got their priorities so mixed up. If they ordered in Domino's, which would have been cheaper probably, oh, so good. I love pizza, Meanwhile, they're lying down the floor afterwards, barely breathing. Like, oh.
Well, that's the other thing. When you have a get together, people always bring the pizza and the bread and all those things. And I look at that and, oh, don't you want any? I said, no, I don't want any. And then, oh, yeah, Rick, you call it duck food. I said, yeah, I call it duck food because it is. Meanwhile, you have over there a delicious rib roast that no one is really eating. I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll just take that for myself. That's usually what happens. I guess they're conditioned to eat the duck food. And when they see the real food, it's like, well, they only eat a little bit of it, but me, I'll devour. I can eat a whole rib roast, and if you have roast beef, watch out because I'm going to be there at the carving station every 10 minutes. So give me some more.
What they think is, Rick, when you go there, say you've been up for your second helping, they're like, oh, say you get like 200 grams roughly the first time, second might be about 100. You're like, no, you don't want like 50 the next time. You want about 200 again to top up, to make up for that lost time.
That's right.
So,
and I have to keep holding out the plate, more. Oh, more? Yeah, more.
You're like 6 foot 1,000 tall. If someone is asking you for meat, I say let them have it. Don't fight people nowadays. It's not good.
That's it.
We'll get through to the last question. So sometimes you need a little shock value to get messaged across. So I reserve that for rare instances. But I mean, my objections are, I don't get many, but I guess it's just because, like, I've got my degree in nutrition experience. And I coach people. Like, what are you going to argue with? Like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing what it isn't meant to be anticipated or done. So I don't get many people who sort of say, "Oh, it's not healthy," but I do get people ask like quite broad questions, which is fair enough. They don't really understand, but like, oh, is a cholesterol bad for you? Is saturated fat bad? That's usually one of them. What about fiber, vitamin C? What fruit and vegetables do you eat? And what? No, I don't eat any. They're like, they think I'm joking. No, I literally don't eat fruit and vegetables really much at all. Maybe once a month I'll have like some onions or something, or a bit of cauliflower cheese. But I'm not eating vegetables and fruit and stuff, especially not fruit. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes you have to have a bit of shock value. Andy's been having some chicken thighs. Nice.
They can be good if you fry them right.
Yeah. I actually had I bought a turkey breast joint recently, and I had the turkey skin on top of it. It was quite crispy, but I thought, let's make it really crispy. So I put
Yeah.
like some salt on it and I think some basil or something, just to give it a bit of a unique taste. And I cooked it in the air fryer, but I made like a crisp out of this turkey skin, like that big. So good.
Oh yeah.
And people think, it's. But imagine having like Lay's or Walker's Doritos, but like a thick ass crisp. That's actually crispy. It's actually good for you.
Well,
You know.
Heart Attack Chicken has crispy skin. You can see in my videos.
Yeah, you use lard for that, don't you? I think.
Lard or tallow, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, Rick. I was at a work event. When I went up 3 to 4 times to the buffet and came back, with only full plates of beef they had spun.
That's it. That sounds like me.
Brilliant. I love that. Maybe avocados have maybe not the food to. Rib roast is the best. Yeah, I need to buy a rib roast at some point to cook up. I'm not that good at cooking joints. I mess them up. I'm a press a couple of buttons on the air fryer kind of guy. I don't like to complicate it.
If it works.
Yeah, it's just me. I don't know. I'd say I'm a little bit lazy cooking sometimes. But yeah, I think that's all the questions. There's something I wanted to bring up. I'm trying to think what it was. God, my brain's gone. You come up with something, Rick. I'll try and tag along.
Oh, well, I mean, it's the holiday season, so there's always something delicious to eat. In fact, I haven't had my lunch yet, so I got to decide whether I want to eat some of that pork shoulder or have some of that Heart Attack chicken. So maybe I'll go for the Heart Attack chicken because I think the chicken's a little older. So I want to eat that in case it wants to go bad. But yeah, I'll have to cook it in lard because I don't have any. I have tallow, but not a lot. That's probably what I'll do. So yeah, I'm just getting ready to have my lunch. Very simple. And the funny thing is, while I'm cooking lunch, I got stuff I need to do outside. I need to take the tools out of my van and move things around, and that's it. So the best thing about the carnivore diet, you don't have to attend the kitchen. You don't have to be there constantly stirring things, mixing things. No, you just put it in there. You put a lid on it. You go outside, use your internal clock, smell the air because my windows are open. I open the windows usually during the day, and then at night I close them to turn on the air conditioner. So I'm getting fresh air constantly, and then I get, the experience of eating. It's great. To me, I can't understand why anybody would eat that takeaway or that ready-made food because it's just not appealing. The things in a plastic package, you put it in a microwave. I mean, is that really eating? When you could just cook something yourself. I even have a solar cooker. One of these days, I'm going to make a video on it. You put it out in the sun, you can do your roast right there. So there's no excuse.
Yeah. Ooh, I think one of my things I'm anticipating in summer is a barbecue.
Yes.
Like buying some sort of gas barbecue. I think I'm not very good at cleaning things, tending to things. So I'd have to try and work out a way to pay the cleaner to do it. Yes, we've got a cleaner because my mum's got had a hip surgery. My stepdad can barely walk. I can't do much. My nan's 94 years old. So yeah, we have a cleaner come around once a week to do the kitchen sort of stuff, stuff which is like hoovering, things we can't really do well ourselves. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, barbecue's definitely on the cards for next year. I think it'd be a good investment. Do you have any recommendations at all? Like what sort of things to look out for? Or
well, the thing is, barbecue purists like to use charcoal, but if you want convenience, go with the gas grill. You're not going to really taste much difference. At least that's in my opinion. Now, again, the barbecue hardcore people criticize me because they've seen me use a gas grill in my truck. But I try to explain to them, you don't want charcoal in the back of your truck when you're trying to drive and grill at the same time. I've already had that happen. I've had a fire start because I hit a bump. The charcoal went all over the place. So if you want convenience, just get the gas grill. And when it comes to cleaning, it's really not that difficult. All you got to do is get some lye or sodium hydroxide in a plastic tray, and you can just put your grills in there. Then you spray your barbecue grill with degreaser and just wash it out. But now if you're a purist, then go for the charcoal grill, but it's a lot more work to clean and it takes longer to get started.
I see. Yeah, I think what I'd probably do is the way I do a lot of things. I'll buy like the novice easy version and see how I get on.
Gas
every
grill.
year down the line, I sell it on and upgrade. So that might be on the cards. We'll see.
I mean, I used a propane grill, portable one. I had to get rid of it because it
Yeah.
went bad, but I'm going to buy another one when I get some money. I would carry it in my truck because a lot of times if you're working, you're out in the field doing work, you need to cook something. You can just fire up the grill. I mean, the engine is always good for road trips, but cooking on an engine when you're working is just takes too long. But if you have the grill, they have the kind you can screw in the little propane tank. And then I even have a refiller that I can refill those tanks myself. I need to make a video. I think when I do get another grill, I'll make a video on how to maintain it because it's really easy. In fact, my opinion, it's easier to bring the grill than to eat the crap fast food because the fast food place, the food is disgusting. And then you have to wait in line. You should see the drive through here. They have cars lined up all over the place. And it's always a disappointment. You know, you can start, like if you work outside like I do, if you're working construction, you can start cooking. You turn on your grill, you get your meat on there. You can put it low and let it cook slowly, or you can sear it first and then turn it down. And many times I'll work and cook at the same time. In fact, I was doing plumbing last week and I had the grill outside cooking while I was fixing the bathroom. And by the time that I put my tools away, the steaks were ready. You can make burgers. I mean, it's just wonderful. I don't understand why everybody doesn't try this because it's just, to me, it's so easy, you know, and the grill's not that expensive. I mean, I got a portable grill the last time for like $99. You can probably, I don't know, maybe now it's more, but I'm sure I'll find something.
Yeah, I think you will. I went to McDonald's today and I bought, oh God, I've said it now. This means we're going to get comments after, unless I prerequisite everything I say to pander to their frustration and indespicable desire to piss me off. Basically, over here in the UK, I'll explain it like I do every time. Food quality standards are much higher than anywhere else in the world. When we buy beef burgers, patties from McDonald's, they are beef, salt, and black pepper. There's no other crap in them. Now, I do add the American cheese slices to them, as in I don't omit them from my order, because I quite like them. They help me get the food down. It'd be better to have like a cheddar cheese, but the thing is,
yes,
I don't seem to be having an issue, guys. I'm not fat. I'm not inflamed, so you know, there's no issue basically.
You're leaner than me.
I'm quite lean, yeah. But the thing was that was annoying to me today, right? So I ordered, I think, 5 triple cheeseburgers, no bun, no sauce, no rabbit food, no lettuce, onions, tomatoes, crap like that. And I actually got 20% off, so I thought, oh, okay, it's worthwhile. I quite like these, so I bought them. I had 2 of them. I've saved 3 of them for tomorrow or something. But anyway, it took so long to get to me from the time I ordered them. Because when I was standing there at the counter, I was like, I could have cooked these up much quicker.
Yes.
And I would have been able to fulfill my own order and not been stuck down by 1 because the lady didn't put 5 on the thing rather than 4 or whatever it was. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, why am I wasting time doing this? It'd been quicker to me to walk to Lidl, go home, get on the bus, and cook the food a bit quicker and cheaper as well. But
I have a cooler.
I'm going to do McDonald's less now, I think.
I have a homemade cooler behind the seat of my truck, and it's plugged in, and it keeps everything frozen. It can keep it cool. I mean, it's really handy to have, so I can load up with meat, and anytime I want, I can cook it. So it's like, to me, it takes less time. I've been on road trips with other people, and I get there always before they do because they have to stop to eat, and I don't have to stop to eat. You know, I throw the meat on the engine and I drive. By the time that they go to the drive-through, they've already lost 10 miles or more behind me, and I just keep going. And then I'll stop when the food is ready. I'll remove the food from the engine. I have one of those little trays that you can put on the seat, and then I put the food on there, and then I keep driving. And then once the food gets cool enough and it smells good, then I open up the container and I just start eating. I eat while I drive. Okay, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I do it, and it's no problem. But these people, it's like, oh, and then if you ride with them, it's even worse because the food looks disgusting and it doesn't even smell good. I'm thinking, you know, you pay all this money for this fast food. It's not even appealing. You know, of course, when my friend rode with me, you should have seen the horror on his face when I had an iguana cooking on the engine. And then they said, oh, I got to stop to eat something. Okay. And I bring in this thing wrapped in foil. He's like, what is that? I said, that's my lunch. And I open it up and there's iguana tails and legs in there. And he started going, oh, you know, like he was going to throw up because it was terrible. I said, would you like to have one? No. And then I said, see, that's what I do when you try to give me the duck food.
yeah, it's funny when I go to any social event. I think people kind of know now, like I don't eat the other stuff. But when I first started carnivore diet, one of the most difficult things I had was like, "Are you sure you don't want this? Are you sure?" Like, well, I am sure. It makes me ill. Well, just try a bit. You want to make me ill? You, whoever's trying to feed me junk, is trying to make me ill. No, forget about it. No, so I don't. No, absolutely not. But it's something you have to spell it out to people. It's bizarre, but
Well, one of my weak points is that when somebody offers me that food, I go like that. I have like a really bad face, and they say, "Oh, there's the Rick face." So that discourages them. I think normal people don't do that. I'm a strange one because they show me a slice of pizza and I'm like backing up. It's like putting an orange in a cat's face and they squint their eyes and back up. It's the same thing. So I think that's one of the reasons they don't try to push it on me.
Yeah, and Andy's on board. He's got to keep offering fucking cake. Stop trying to poison me. Yeah, literally. I've been in situations so many times throughout the last year. I've said, I cannot do this. My body won't let me. I don't want to do this. It hurts. I don't want to do this. It will make me feel ill. And you're just like, oh. I don't. You can only spell it out so far. What you got there? Water and a bit of ice.
That's it. That's all I drink.
Yeah, that's good enough. I drink water, Pepsi Max. I'll do coffee sometimes, but it's not an everyday thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that to sort of say, oh, I'm better because I don't drink that much. I'm just saying I don't particularly like it that much that often. Yeah, so that's just me.
Well, it's like you said, it doesn't hurt you. Just because I only drink water doesn't mean I tell everybody that's all you should drink. If you want to drink something else, go ahead and do it. I just don't want it. You don't have to give it to me. I said, look, it's an advantage. All the soda and juice, you can have it. All I want is my water, and that's it. And also, you notice I only use glass. I don't drink out of plastic. That's the other thing. And they look at me like, oh, there's Rick. He's afraid of plastic. I'm not afraid of plastic. Every one of my containers is glass. Every one.
It's a better option for sure. I mean, I drink out of plastic, but not because I think it's better. It's just I'm a really clumsy fuck. I spill everything. You can't give me a glass at a party and think it's not going on the floor. It will go on the floor. So yeah, I drink out of bottle shakers, but they do make these glass jar things. But the thing is, they've got these tiny little straws come out the top. And they're not sealed, so I'll still drop them. I need something I can drop that won't smash or spill everywhere. So it ends up being by default plastic. So.
In my truck, I actually have stainless steel containers. I don't use glasses when I'm on the road. And those are dented. I've dropped them many times. I'm looking for one. I don't know where it is. I think they're both. I got it in the van. But the one thing that's weird about me, I never take any water when I go on a bicycle ride, even with my friends. And they look at me like, where's your water bottle? I said, what water bottle? I drink a bunch of water before I leave. I don't drink any water. I go all day and I don't drink water. And they look at me like, how in the world? And they'll see me eating a steak, no water to drink, just chewing on a steak. And I'm like, this guy's crazy, They've got their fruit juice and their water and electrolytes and all this stuff. And I'm sweating more than they are, and I don't drink anything. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, off season, if I've got enough fat in my diet, I don't drink that much relative to my body weight. Maybe 2 liters. That's it. And I see people at the gym, and they're a bit like, "Oh, is that what you drink?" I'm like, I don't have a shaker cup to hand, but I'll drink about 300 or 400 milliliters in my time at the gym. Mm-hmm. That'll include the time I leave the front door, walk 4 minutes to the bus stop, sit there, wait for the bus, get on the bus for about 10 minutes, train for an hour, go to the shop, get the bus back. So I'm gone for about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. And I'll drink 300-400 milliliters while I'm at the gym. But what people don't realize is when you're like exercising like you are, if you're going for a cycle ride, you're out and about, if you're just drinking loads of water, you're putting all the blood in your digestive system when it should be, going around your muscle fibers and your peripheral tissues to hydrate yourself to perform the work you need to perform. Like people can test themselves. Drink 100 milliliters, go for a walk. Now drink a liter and go for a walk. What do you feel better walking on, less or more? It's never going to be more. unless you're very dehydrated. But the hydration thing, which is a little tidbit, is hydrate throughout the whole day when you're thirsty. Obviously, you're thirsty at a point in time, you drink maybe half a liter at once. Well, then that's it. That's what your body wants at that time. You're a big, tall human being, so you can facilitate that storage. If someone's 4 foot nothing, don't drink a liter in one go. Bad idea. You're going to piss yourself.
Right.
It's nothing. It's nothing magic, you know.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Just want to say hello to DC.
Yes.
Good day, lads. Hello, everyone. Yes. I recommend people follow him. He's definitely on the grind. He's working hard with his channel. He's a personal friend of mine from the lovely, lovely, lovely Australia. So follow DC's Cancer and Life Journey, and I much prefer his current username to what it was before. I think it's much more appropriate and has a bit of shock factor, what we're talking to earlier. You know?
Yeah.
So makes sense.
It's interesting. I'm surprised he doesn't have more viewers on the channel. He's a very interesting story and knowledgeable too.
Yeah, he's on point. He's not dogmatic. He's a bit like me. He's like, it was probably the best thing to do, but you don't have to do it. This is what I do. He does lots of different varied content. He does collaborations like this, live streams. He does recording himself exercising. He's doing all the stuff that I wish more people did. So I value that a lot.
I agree.
Chris has said, when I go to social events at folks' homes that I know, I have to bring a cook steak on site. I'm usually the hit of the party. I don't do it for attention. I do it because I believe in it. Good for you. Nice. Yeah, if you've got the financial capacity to do it, yeah, why not? People like you for it. They think, oh, this guy's healthy. He's happy-go-lucky. He's got some money. Oh, he also eats a shit ton of steaks. Interesting. Good for him. So yeah, I think it works. Andrew does fasted half marathons and just a salt tablet about 8 miles in. Just goes to show.
See?
Now Andrew's quite lean as well. He's not over fat. He's probably like you, pretty lean. So it's not like he has 20, 30 pounds extra fat in his body to use as energy. Because his body's attuned to being efficient at what he's trying to do.
Right.
So, yeah. When's the best time to stop drinking warm water? When you're not thirsty. I personally tell people not to drink too close to meal times because it just dilutes your stomach acid. Can mean that you crave more salt than what you probably actually need. The ideal situation is to get exactly what you need when you need it. Unfortunately, we're human. We have different instincts. We're not exact. Our bodies aren't fine-tuned robots or machines, so we can't know exactly what to do. It is a bit of a case of salt to taste and drink to first. I say to people, don't drink near mealtime, so half an hour either side, ideally. Probably give water or fluid a 2-hour gap before bedtime seems to be effective, but it's not a hard rule. It's just what I find people tend to do. A lot of my guys that I work with, clients and things, I sort of say, give it 2 to 3 hours before bed. Stop drinking water. Nothing wrong with sips. If you're going to bed and your lips are stuck together, you're probably not going to breathe that well. It's probably going to upset your sleep pattern. So have a sip of water in that case. There's nothing clever about hydration. There's not a video really to make. I made one like a year or two ago, and I still think it's one of the worst videos I've made. It's so boring. It's like, drink to first, salt to taste. Have a good day. Goodbye. Here we go. 10 minutes later. Cheers, I appreciate it. No worries. As long as people know the truth, then if they do things like that, it's up to them. It's the people that poison themselves every day but are not aware that I need to exactly. That's why I'm so pissed off with some people in the space. They don't want to help neurodivergent people. People that need the help. That there's people out there, probably 18-year-old lads and maybe women. They don't know what a carnivore diet is. They just think, I'm stuck here. These are my life outcomes. This is all I can achieve. Probably go into ChatGPT. What's the average rate of depression? How many meds do they take? What are my life outcomes, predictable outcomes? No point. I'm not going to try. Amazing what happens when you do try. When you actually do give it a bit of effort. You know, it's that always anticipating that the grass is always greener on the other side kind of thing. In a way, it's a double-edged sword because you're never completely content or satisfied with what you do. but you know you're doing better than what you'd be doing otherwise had you not tried. Going back to what we were saying earlier about the only guarantee of failure is if you quit, and I think that's true. I mean, I know Rick, you've probably had some experience in the past where you've struggled with something, but you found a way to sort it out. I mean, do any come to mind like right now?
Oh, it's a daily thing for me. I've always got issues, I've had stuff brought to me that's broken. I've had people that have problems that are intermittent, and I was just trying to fix an excavator last week that power kept cutting out, and I had to walk away from it. And then finally I thought, well, let me just follow, where the main power feed was. I started looking, and then I found it was corroded. But it was one of those things at the moment I was getting really frustrated because I couldn't find the problem. It was not acting up when I was working on it, but I knew the problem was still there, and it was just a matter of time before I found it. So it's true with everything. There's always something that's going to frustrate you, and I think a lot of times it just comes down to having the right attitude. When I'm under pressure, I don't work well. I know some people, they work better when they're under pressure. I don't. I like to have options, because if I don't have options, my biggest option is going to be to make a mistake.
I can see it happening for a lot of people. Yeah, I'm more of a plan A is the only kind of plan kind of guy, but I do have what sometimes do is I'll write down a plan B, but it's more just to leave on the side. But I don't put too much thought into it because that can sometimes make people a bit sparing with their efforts, I find. Mm-hmm. So when I'm like directing a coaching client or something, it's more, this is what I need you to do. If you encounter any problems, let me know. I don't say this is what you need to do. If you can't do it, do this instead. Because they've already put it on the table. They're going to go for the easy option that will get them lesser results. I don't give them that option unless it's so obvious that they can't achieve, in which case, yeah, you got to sort of give a bit. But yeah, right. I'm going to answer. Right, we've got two more questions. This one's for you, Rick. So I'll let you get this one. Then I'll answer the other one. So when's the best time to ride, Rick? Like, do you find it better when it's cool or hotter?
I'll tell you, I generally do it in the afternoon, but the heat really doesn't bother me as much, believe it or not, because what I do, I adjust my riding style. If I ride later, like I'm going to the store, I ride faster. So I'm going to go more all out because I want to get there and back before it gets dark. But if it's the middle of the day, I'm going to take my time. And if it gets too hot, I'll go along the canal. I may go under a tree for a while and look for iguanas and ducks. So I just adjust my intensity based on the weather. So I can do it in the middle of the day or I can do it later, but I don't ride at night. So what I try to do, like, for example, if I worked all day, and a lot of times when I'm working, I'm driving. If I go by the store, whatever. But if I didn't go out to work that day, I'm not going to start my vehicle and burn fuel just to go 2 miles to the store. So what I'll do, I'll wait till maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, and then I'll go to the store, and then I'll ride fast so I can get back. But if I had to go, let's say noon, I'll ride slower. So it just depends. The intensity depends on the temperature. Now, if we get cool weather, which is rare, even in the middle of the day, I push because it's just a habit of mine. When I'm cool, I like to work harder. And when it's hot, I cut back.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just an intuitive approach, isn't it, I guess? It seems to be the theme for today's talk, doesn't it? What does your body tell you, and what do you want to do, basically?
That's it.
Another question as well. So when is the best time to work out during the day? That's quite a good question. I think it's quite broad. I won't be able to give you a hard answer, Josephine, but I'll be able to give you some suggestion or advice of how to reach the conclusion that you need to reach. Personally, I find people have the best training sessions when their body is warmest. If you're, say, going to work a 9-to-5 job, it's the middle of winter where you are, you finish work, you're tired, you have a shot of coffee, go to the gym, it's freezing fucking cold, you walked out of the office, you got to walk 20 minutes to get to the gym, whatever. Bad idea. Don't go to the gym when you're freezing cold. So make sure your body temperature is at a relatively warm, indoors ambient temperature. Don't go from one extreme to the other. It's a stress in the body that you don't need. You're not going to be able to train as effectively if your body's so focused on keeping the blood in your brain as opposed to your muscle tissues from being in a more appropriate temperature or weather condition. Other things as well, some people prefer to train fasted. Some people prefer to train fed. There is no hard science on it at all in the literature to suggest which one is better than the other. It's purely based on feel. What I do with a lot of clients is say to them, try out each way for about 2 weeks. So, for example, if you train 2 to 4 times a week, say Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that, do that for 2 weeks, but train first thing in the morning fasted. It might be that you have to have one meal in, then train. Then also experiment with the time between training and feeding. So for me, I personally prefer to train after one meal because it gives me a bit of time in the morning to hydrate a little bit because I'm a big guy. I sweat a bit during the night, so I need a bit more hydration of people. I also don't drink in the middle of the night because I'm going to piss myself all night, which is annoying. It means I'm going to impact recovery and sleep by waking up to go to urinate all the time. So I'd say make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're warm. Try not to be bloated when you train because you're never going to train as effectively if 35% of your blood volume is in your digestive system because you're digesting food. The best situation is to have a little bit of food in my opinion, so that you've got some backup fuel if you're not well fed. Now, if you're bulking, as in you're eating more than what your body probably demands at the time you're trying to gain muscle tissue at a fast rate, you're going to find you're not going to be wanting to be training when you're bloated after a full meal. In which case, you might do the half and half approach where you might have a mini meal or a mini feeding before the gym. So for a lot of people, that might be, it depends what you're eating. So I'm not going to dictate to you what you should eat, but it might be a coffee with some butter in it with 2 boiled eggs or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a mini meal for you. Maybe it's a big meal for you. I don't know. But maybe that's what you need to feel hydrated, get some electrolytes in your system before you train. The way you assess what's most effective is one, how you feel. Because I think there are other metrics such as strength, which you can track to work out which is more effective. But if you're doing something which is more effective, but you feel like shit when you're training, you're not going to get a good long-term result and you're not going to be able to adhere or sustain for very long. In which case, yeah, you don't be bloated when you train, maybe train fasted. So run each intervention for about 2 weeks and see which one you prefer to do. Now, the next kind of thing goes into is mealtime, meal frequency. Again, it doesn't really matter. It depends mostly on what your individual digestive capacity is. For me, my meals are fucking huge. So for me to train after an hour, like an hour training after eating, is not going to work out very well. But for Rick's been following a carnivorous way of eating for over 40 years. He could eat 2 or 3 meals per day. And if he was to train or do some work, some manual labor, yeah, he might be able to do it after 2 pounds of meat. His body is different to mine. His body might have regulated itself in such a way to allow that to happen. So there's no hard rules in it, but I'd say just do what makes you feel good, which still gives you results. I'd be conscious of making sure you track your macros from day to day, or at least tracking your food intake in grams. So whether it be half kilo of ground beef with 4 eggs with, I don't know, 4 tablespoons of butter. Okay, maybe split it up into 3. Maybe that works well. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you have to split it up into, say, a 40-40-20 split. So maybe do 20% of your food first thing, train after 2 hours, give it after 2-3 hours. Whenever you're next hungry again, then have your second feeding, then maybe your third feeding if you eat 3 times a day. So that's what I would personally do. But hopefully that gives you a bit of insight, a bit of guidance. There's no, like I said, there's no hard rules. Looking to optimize these things because you've read a study or heard someone online, an influencer say this is optimal, is not going to work. If I did what was popular online, I wouldn't probably be sitting here right now. I'd probably be in a hospital after probably, I don't know, numerous attempts at my life or something because I've followed someone else's stupid advice online. You know, the bad advice does exist. You can't go too far wrong if you listen to your own intuition, your own hunger signals, your own instincts, and do something quite sensible. Don't try and force yourself to do something which is, fasting because it burns more fat. It doesn't burn more fat. Your body will burn whatever you feed it. If I melted down a kilo of butter and put it through Rick's bloodstream right now, intravenously, hypothetical guys, I'm not being serious, but if I did that, he'd be burning entirely fat for ages. It doesn't mean he'd be losing fat. It just means he'd be oxidizing fat as an energy substrate. So be careful of the nomenclature and the wording online. When someone says, I took this supplement and it increased fat burning, was it fat? Did you eat MCT oil? Did you eat butter? Did you eat cream? Yes, you just enhance your fat burning, but at the expense of eating more fat. So if you're trying to lose body fat, it's not going to work. You just blockaded that potential fat loss benefit. But that's my 2 cents on the subject. So hopefully that's useful. I think I've covered it. But Rick, do you have anything to add to that at all in terms of like meal timing and training and things?
Well, people concentrate too much on wanting to burn fat, but I think it's better to just let your body do what it's going to do. I mean, in my case, since I don't really track anything, I'm not really working out right now. I'm just working. I think the main thing is it's a survival instinct. Your body's trying to survive. It's going to use what's available and actually what you train it to do. If you're going to eat a lot of duck food, well, you're just going to, you're going to end up just waddling and quacking because you're not going to lose any body fat. So I think a lot of times people focus too much on that, but they should take your advice and focus on the macros of what they're eating, because that really is where the difference is. That protein versus fat combination, that makes sense. That's something that they can track. And I think if they would concentrate more on that and forget about all these so-called fat burning aids, I think they would do a whole lot better.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when my brother used to, my brother's a natural athlete. He's not a competitive bodybuilder, but if you saw him, you'd be like, okay, he's bigger than every carnivore on the planet right now. He's very heavily muscled sort of thing, drug-free and all that. And the funny thing was, sorry, what were we talking about? My brain went. The macros,
about the fat burning, all these fat burning.
Yeah, additives. Sure. So, yeah, so my brother at the time, he is when he started training, he's about 16, something like that, and is online. And what was popular at the time was like Hot Rocks, Fat Burner, this Hydroxycut Extreme, Advanced Black, Lipo 6, the lot. Well, basically, how much sweat and sick can you possibly vomit up in one single capsule? That's basically what the stuff does. When you actually look at the efficacy of it, like how much does it increase basal metabolic rate? They studied all these things, and even like the most at the time you had something called ephedrine, caffeine, that sort of stuff. Even at best, those things would only increase fat burning by 3%.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to yield you better results? Spending $30 per month on better quality food that you enjoy, that makes your diet easier to adhere to, that's going to give you that much benefit, or the 1 to 3% fat loss burning that you might get, which will make you feel sick and mess up your sleep. Mm-hmm. It's an easy decision. So people need to look at it from a different kind of lens. It's not so much about the individual, what you're doing in that specific time frame. Look at it from a whole bigger picture. Does like I said with Josephine earlier, when she's asking about like training time, like what makes you feel better? If you train at 9 o'clock at night and stimmed off your head and coffee, you don't sleep. You don't recover. It's pointless. Mm-hmm. Like right now, I'm building muscle on a carnivorous diet. I'm not binge eating loads of crap. I'm eating a sensible to satiety, manipulating macros as my body sees fit, tracking metrics, tracking sleep, how I feel, my mood, how many people I've sworn at that day, and how many trolls I've blocked. Currently up to around 310 on YouTube. 310 people are blocked on my YouTube channel, guys. So I don't feel very I'm not reluctant to block people that I don't like, put it that way. But there's no point in testing me. You'll just get blocked. I won't even inquire about what the problem is.
I've been lucky. Yeah. They seem to block themselves. I think I scare them off.
You're like, this guy's is not biting. I'm not gonna bother. I think they see you like, if this guy sees me in person, he's gonna pick me up like a toothpick and flip me off the side of the road.
That's it.
That's literally it. I think I already put this on the screen, haven't I?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't ride a bike just normally. I didn't think it was anything special about it.
I don't know. I like watching you actually ride your bike with the camera. I quite enjoy that, because I used to, when I was more physically active and I didn't crash my bike sometimes, I was cycling around everywhere. I find 10-minute cycle somewhere. We go to the shop, pick up a bottle of water or something bizarre, like something mundane like that. I quite enjoyed it in the summer. So yeah,
Well, it's faster.
cycling's
With the
underrated.
traffic we have here, sometimes I can save 10 minutes on the bike because you have to take into account how long it takes to park the car. I may spend 15 minutes parking the car. With a bike, I could just ride right up to the store, connect to the bike rack, go inside, and then go around the back. Sometimes I go along the canal where there's no road. So it's faster. Now, if I have to go a long distance, like if I have to go to Gordon Foods, I drive there. I mean, I've ridden there, but that's like a 10-mile trip each way. So it just takes way too long, but I've done it. I mean,
You're
it's a matter of
optimizing
time.
health as well.
You what?
You're optimizing health as well because you don't have a glass screen in front of you. You're
That's
getting
true.
100% of the UV index. You're not getting just 42%.
That's true.
The full
That's right.
near infrared. I think the only instance where Brick would benefit from not doing that was if he is ill, stuck at home, no one to sort of get his food or groceries for him, and had sore knees that day, and he's really hungry. And it's snowing. There we go. In that instance, in Florida, that's a good reason to get the car out, or the truck out, and drive.
Or if there's a hurricane coming.
Yeah, it's sensible, isn't it? But I think people should use it or lose it. So you're going to be cycling for decades.
It had been 10 years since I really did any regular cycling. It's just when my truck broke down, I didn't have an option. And then I got right on the bike and it was fine. I was carrying batteries and I hadn't ridden the bike for ages and I didn't get tired. And it told me, it's like, I haven't done this for a long time, but I'm always active and I eat the carnivore diet. It's like, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's still there. I didn't lose it because I didn't kill myself with duck food. I see the comment. She says, "You're amazing. People cannot ride bike. You're out of breath." Yeah, that's probably what it is because I talk when I ride. Just like I talk now, it doesn't matter. I do the same thing when I'm working. Even when I was digging a ditch, I was talking, because I pace myself. If my body is starting to feel like it's running out of energy, I slow down. That's how I do it. And I don't have a problem because I won't push myself beyond what I can handle with normal activity. Now, I'll do it for a short time. Let's say I got to get an engine block on the engine stand. That thing it could weigh 200 pounds or more. And I have to pick this thing up and put it into the engine stand. I'll go all out and do it. And then when I'm done, that's it. I'm not going to pick it up and down and up and down. I just maximum effort for a short time and that's it. But for normal things that I do, I pace myself. And I've never been hurt. I've never had an injury. Yeah, I've had bicycle accidents. I hit a palm tree, a few months ago when the wheel came off. And I was okay. The lady that saw it happen, she thought I was going to go to the hospital. I stood up like, "Oh, no problem. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine." But I think a lot of times people they don't listen to their body. This is the problem. They're hurting. They're not feeling good. And they're pushing and pushing and pushing because they think the harder they push, the more results they're going to get. I said, no. If you run your car all out and you blow it up, you've blown the engine up. Now it's no good for anything. It's better to just pace yourself.
Yeah, that's a fit. I think a lot of people that come to carnivore way of eating, many of them are extreme sort of people. I'm not saying this as if I'm not, because I certainly am. But a lot of people I speak to, they want to be so exact and so perfect. But it's like sometimes being perfect is actually doing nothing. The idea of not stressing your body out. I'm tired today. Don't go to the gym. There's lots of things you can look at. What did he say? People pay way too much attention to what others say rather than how they feel. Completely agree. Yeah. Like even Coach Stephen, my mate Stephen, Stephen Thomas from the UK. He's a trained phlebotomist, and even he says, I can read your blood work and interpret what is going on. Same with Professor Barquet. Same with Harris Parnas. But it only gives you an indication of something which is wrong if the symptomology presents itself in that way. If you come at someone and say, "Oh, your triglycerides are high," well, how do you feel? Fucking awesome. Got loads of energy. Can play with the kids. I can cycle a bike across Florida in torrential rain and hurricanes. And well, that's good enough for me. I'd rather go by that metric than, "Oh, your triglycerides are 0.1 above what the reference normative range says they should be."
Or like the doctor told me, your blood pressure is too low, your cholesterol is too high, your blood pressure was 90/60. But they should have said, "How do you feel?" "I have plenty of energy." The thing is that it can go up and down. I mean, I can make my blood pressure go up very quickly by doing some work, and then it goes back down. And the same thing with the cholesterol. Cholesterol was high that day. Who cares? I haven't died yet. That was 1996. I should be dead by now, but I'm still alive. You know, the things that they tell you, they judge immediately. Oh, this is the way it's going to be, absolutely. And it's not. That's not the way that life works. I've seen the same thing with gardening. You know, you have plants that are dying from a disease. Oh, they're all going to die. Then you come back 6 months later and there's one still there. Well, how did that happen? I don't know. You know, I mean, they make assumptions that are not always true. And then they act like they're God. You know, that's the fact. This is it. This is the only way it's going to be. And it doesn't work that way. You know, human beings are adaptable. The reason why we're the dominant species on Earth is because we can adapt to all different parts of the Earth. We can create things. We can create our own environment. You know, regular animals don't have that much ability, but we can do a lot. And there's a lot of variety. So, yeah, you know, I criticize the whole proper human diet thing because I think of the proper human diet as a spectrum of diets, not just the carnivore diet. I mean, there's certain keto diets. I mean, meat-based, yes, I agree with that. But to say, well, you can only eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, or don't eat dairy, or don't do this or that I don't agree with, because I believe that there is the variation, you know. And I think depending on where you live makes a difference. If you live in a cold climate, your requirements may be different than I live in Florida. So I don't think it's one size fits all.
Yeah, you can certainly get away with a bit more, I think, in the sun, just in general. I mean, it's not totally innocuous to eat a chocolate bar in the middle of Florida or Dominican Republic. Yes, it was probably going to do damage to some degree, depending who you are. But I found, like, when I've been on holiday or vacation in the past, like 10 years ago, yeah, I'd go to the buffet. I'll eat all the ice cream there. I'd then swim in the pool, be on the beach, get some sun. Had a bit of a bloat. Didn't feel that bad, you know. I think your tolerance does go up a bit when you're depleting deuterium and all that sort of thing. As long as it's like whole food, but yeah,
right.
Ice cream's not
whole food, exactly. The fruit, the tropical fruits, you know, they're not going to kill you. I mean, I've eaten tropical fruit before. It doesn't have any effect. Now, if I was to eat the ice cream, I would feel like crap because I hate it. I absolutely hate ice cream. You know, I don't know. I don't like any prepared dessert, pie, cake. I can't stand any of it. You know, the fruit I can handle, but that's about it. But definitely the meat is what I crave.
Yeah, I think any day that I don't eat a certain amount of meat in grams, I might. The next day, I know something's off. I don't quite feel right. Something is like, it's more than just my body. It's also my mind. Is like, you've not eaten enough meat. Like, what's going on? So yeah, our bodies are more fine-tuned as we go along this sort of journey. But I'm going to go in about a minute or two. So I'm just going to chuck up these two things. So, and so I think it's more to do with where our genes are from, rather than where we live, to some degree at least.
Could be.
So if my genes are from Northern Europe, I tolerate dairy, yeah. I eat a lot of fish, yeah. I feel better doing that, yeah. Now, what I'd be curious, it's not possible. What I'd be curious is if I went somewhere like a warmer climate, how my life experience would change. Would I have more tolerability for food? I don't know. I think I would. But it's that yardstick. You've got nothing to measure it by because we can't teleport ourselves and run the experiments. So a lot of these biohacks that we do are, you know, they could be a foot in the grave sort of thing in some cases. Yeah, DC's got the same idea. You can get away with more in a hot climate. I think so. Sure. Just want to wish everyone happy. Thank you, Susie. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And happy New Year to you. It's probably about lunchtime where you're at. Appreciate you joining. Can't prove it, of course. I'm terrible in hot climate. I'm a hot, sweaty bugger as well, Andy. That's you. I don't do well with heat. I don't do heat. To Rick's point about spectrum of diet, Dr. Barry mentioned the proper human diet as being everything under the big umbrella of low carb. His open to variations are not very dramatic. Yeah, completely true. I think we're all about the same. It's just, as part of it is some of us are try to be sensationalistic about, this is the perfect diet. Some of us have experience where we found a certain bracket of foods is good. That's been my experience. I find most people tend to achieve the best physique and have outcomes eating 4 to 5 different animal foods each day. So I'd say, yeah, I'm definitely proponent of a carnivorous diet. Some people can tolerate a bit of this, bit of that. A little tidbit: I'd suggest avoiding salicylates and oxalates if you're someone with autism. That's been my experience. I can do a bit of olives, garlic, but not a lot. I find if I have too much, I feel manic. The same way I feel manic if I eat dark chocolate, for example. My jeans need to be in the cold. Yeah, I love the cold. But in the summer, I do feel good. But if I'm out in the sun, it has to be, all right, I'm stark as naked. I know I'm going to be sweaty. I'm going to have a bath after, or a cold shower after. It has to be a certain way. I can't sit out in the heat. Yeah. Nicely done. Well, that's a good 2.5 hour live stream. I didn't use too many drugs to sit here, so I'm quite glad about that. I didn't intoxicate myself. So we're there. But thank you very much for joining, Rick. I appreciate you coming on. So if anyone's watching this now, please follow the Carnivore Quack, and that is at Charger Mopar on YouTube. I think, are you approaching about 4 or 5K subs now?
I don't have any that I know of. I've never made a penny off of YouTube in 17 years.
You won't make much, Rick, I tell you.
I know that.
I tell you, it's pretty
that's not why I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously, I do have a horse in the race with my information. I do sell ebooks, I do sell coaching, but what else can I do? A disabled man living at home. What can I do? Making the best out of the situation I have. The same with you, Rick. I mean, you managed to find time to host these live streams, collaborate with people like myself, share your insights, give people value. You don't ask a thing in return. So you're someone I'd trust, and you probably get lots of comments below your videos. I know your recent one, you've got a really good like ratio, relative amount of views you got, and you got lots of comments below, and people appreciate what you're doing. So what you're doing is helping people. You're keeping people in that loop. You're keeping people thinking, which is important.
Right, because the thing is, I don't want these people to be led by some type of charlatan or somebody that's going to be out there just trying to make money off of them, because that's not the thing. I'm not against people making money. If you provide a product or service, you are entitled to compensation, absolutely. But the thing is, for people to make money from basically doing nothing, that really bothers me, because they go out there, they make all these claims, they sell products that are overpriced. If you're getting a good value, more power to you. I don't have a problem with that. But I want to be here so that people don't think they have to join some special club to get information on the carnivore diet or other things in life in general, because I'm not just carnivore. I'm a lot of things. I have a lot of abilities and talents, and I'm like you. I work for a living. I have the ability to do physical things that, obviously if you're handicapped or you have this disability, you can't. So you do other things. So we all have our little specialties. And if we work together, I think that's where the success comes. Yeah,
well, they say teamwork makes the dream work, or something like that.
That's right. The network is where the power is, not in the individual.
That's it. I agree. Carnivore Bible is great, Jonathan. That reminds me to go look something up. Yes. It's pretty complete, that book. I mean, if anyone read it, you're pretty much there. A lot of it is like a general guidance kind of thing, but if you've been trained for 5 to 10 years, you can read through that book and you know what to do. It's plain as chips, simple. It's simple, but it can be hard. Like trying to achieve something beyond what is achievable by most is tricky. So it does require a lot of dedication. I try to be transparent with people. So I say, look, you want to build this much muscle, this is how much you can achieve, this is roughly where you are in that indices of like what's achievable. Try to be honest with people. That's the best you can really do. But thanks very much for joining, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. 2 hours 40 minutes in, the lovely Rick Charger Mopar. Happy New Year's, and also subscribe to this quack if you have not yet already. All right, take care, guys.
Check out my site at compositionconsultant.com, where your journey to peak performance and optimal health begins. With a degree in human nutrition and over 15 years of training experience, I've guided more than 400 carnivores to not just meet, but exceed their physique and performance goals. Through personalized consultations, comprehensive ebooks, and dedicated coaching, I'm here to ensure your success. Join the ranks of those who have transformed their lives. It's time to align your physique goals with positive health outcomes. Visit compositionconsultant.com today and take the first step towards the best version of you.